everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are we all doing today? Got started a little bit later today because I was busy. I was busy watching the new Avatar movie, so that's what I was doing. Eh, and I can give you a review. I'm here. I see all you people saying I'm late. I'm here. Yeah, so that's what I was doing. I was watching Avatar, the new Avatar movie. Eh, eh. I I wish I had more to say than that, but eh, it was just kind of it was like watching a 3 hour and 12-minute television show. Storyline was really simple, huge plot holes you could drive a truck through. It was sort of like James Cameron was just pleasuring himself on screen because of he has some neat special effects. And weirdly, I don't know if it's just me remembering things differently because I haven't gone back and watched the first one since basically it came out, but I seem to remember the effects being actually better in the first one. The one thing I will say is they got water effects. The water CGI is top notch. But when you're noticing that the effects are good, you're actually noticing the effects, which kind of cuts down on it. So anyway, yeah, it wasn't eh, whatevs. See it? I mean, if you got nothing to do for 3 hours and 12 minutes, I'd go see it. It's not bad. It's just not super. Kicking us off with the first super chat of the night, my fuzzy nuts. It's Jeff, say my name. Merry Christmas. Well, Merry Christmas to you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was yes, he's important to himself. It and I really think it felt more about the ability to do special effects than it was the ability to tell a story. What was the story? The story was how the American expansion took away the land and traditions of Native Americans and how we killed all the whales. That's kind of what it is. It's sort of all the white man guilt bottled up into a 3 hour and 12-minute movie. So just kind of think it like Dances with Wolves on the Ocean. That's my review. so, so there we are. All right, hey everybody, welcome to chat here. Great to have you here. Great to see y'all. Sorry for the hour and a half late start, but yeah, that's what happens when you actually want to go out and do something once in a while. We've got the people in the chat, the best chat in the universe. We all know everybody's great. Best chat on the internet, Vice Squad, hands down. So thank you all for being here. And those of you that just have us on in the background, listening as you go about your daily life, thank you so much as well. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Pleasure to have you here. And if you have hit that subscribe button before, make sure you're still subscribed because you just never know what's going on. YouTube likes to delete people. Mods, welcome. Thanks for doing your moddy thing. You guys are great. And what do we got coming up in the near future? Let's give our little bit of a preview here before we jump right into the update on the Moscow, Idaho murders. Tomorrow, Thursday. We know what Thursday is. Thursday is OJ Simpson Day. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing OJ Simpson, Mark Furman back on the stand. Maybe Mark Furman will take the stand a week from tomorrow, but we're gonna get close. But tomorrow, the main focus of the day will be on all of the people that accused him of saying racist things are bringing the receipts. They're testifying. They're bringing recordings, and he may make an appearance at the end. We'll just have to see. And Friday, we're gonna do a double stream on Friday. We'll have a morning stream and we'll have an evening stream as well. The usual morning stream for the US will be doing something, probably something related to the unexplained. We should be having at least Hannah Franz, Farron's sister, might be on. We'll see. That's at least what we've got. We're going to get some feelers out, but Friday evening US time is one you're probably not going to want to miss. We've got at least one guest locked in. The other guest 99%. We've got 2 guests locked in official and 1 guest 99% locked in. We're going to be talking about alternative lifestyles and people on the portion of the alphabet people towards the end. Not the L's, not the G's, not the B's, a few of the T's and well into the Q's and the pluses behaving badly. Guaranteed. What are we going to guests that night will be well, let's start with the 99% locked in. 99% locked in will be the one and only Drexel of MGTOWN Podcast. Drex is 99.9% sure that he will be here on time. So Drex will be here. Drex's producer Tim will be here. And the other person is our very own Flux. Flux will be on the panel. Yay, it'll be Drex, producer Tim, and Flux will be Friday night US time. I wanted to have Meme Copium on tonight, but oh, wow. Okay. He's out drinking with Andrew in Japan, in Osaka right now. Andrew Legal Mindset. He said he's on his way home. He might be home in 40 minutes. I'll just send him a message to see if I'm still streaming. All right. So anyway, that'll be tomorrow is OJ Simpson. Friday is Alphabet People Behaving Badly with Drex, Drex's producer Tim, and our very own Flux. So that'll be a fun one. You're not gonna want to miss. And then after that, Nick will be doing his big stream, his big all-night stream, and we'll be there as well. So that'll be fun. It'll be his happy birthday stream. Lots of alcohol, lots of shenanigans and fun going on. So, all right, that takes us up to next Monday, which is Maritime Monday. So that's all we really need to talk about. Stay tuned for tomorrow. Both shows on Friday, and then Nick's birthday stream, and that's it. All right. Updates. Those of you that saw the rant that I went on last Friday for the Law Rant Friday about the Idaho murders, it's pretty much me screaming into the microphone for about 2 hours about this one topic. All told, I screamed into the microphone for about 5 hours. But I have some huge issues with the Idaho case, and if you know them, you saw them. We gave some updates, and we went pretty hard, pretty critical as Nando's man buns it on Steve, the father of one of the victims, Xana. Yeah, so there we go. It looks like Nick moved his birthday stream to Thursday night. Well, that sucks because I'll be in the office. God damn it. Oh, well. We'll work around it somehow. I was not aware. So it was hard on Steve because Steve was releasing information to the police. We got some more Steve updates today. I'm going to try not to rage as much as I raged last Friday because I don't want to get the adrenaline going because I got to wake up in the but we'll still talk a little bit about Steve a little bit later. But there's also just some other general updates to go through. It's been a pretty busy time since last Friday. And so that's what we'll do. We'll just talk about that. And then when I'm done, better do it while I'm thinking about it. The Aaron Dean trial, it will be, the closing arguments are going to start here in about 20 minutes. And then the jury will deliberate and they'll probably come back with a not guilty verdict is my guess. But we will prepare this to dump into Andrew Branca's stream when I'm finished. So let me just set that up right now so I don't forget about it. Scrolling on down. So we'll do this probably for 90 minutes or so. Then we'll dump into him if we can. There we go. Law of self-defense. All right. Redirect. Boom. All right. We will redirect to him when we're done. All righty then. Great. So where are we going to start this review today? This review begins with an article. Lots of articles we'll be looking at tonight. Oh, and while I've got you here, we got 483 people and only 175 likes. That's like 25%. Come on, guys. Well, it's closer to 1/3, but come on, everybody. We need to get up to 400 likes. Let's just get up to 400 likes. We need to be there. You know the rules. You know what's happening. So there we go. I don't like all this Steve talk. Gee, Apostle Steve. American Dreamer says, thank you for being here. Merry Christmas, Jeff. Well, Merry Christmas to you too, American Dreamer. Glad to have you here. And as we go through this, again, we'll try to pay as much attention as we can to the chats. Super chats get the priority reads. That guarantees you get your super chat read, your questions answered, your comments read, whatever you need. American Dreamer says, my super chat, Jeff. I just read it. Patience, young Padawan. Then we got the thanks coming through. All right. There we go. So hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you want. We got up to 241 likes, so we're doing a little bit better. But we need to be up right around 400 likes just so I can stop talking about it. You'll notice how quickly we got up yesterday with DUI guy and didn't talk about likes at all because we were where we needed to be. All right, let's bring this first article up and talk about this. Yeah, the doggos are playing behind the playing behind the curtains there. All right, this is a weird little update. Nearly 4 weeks after slayings, neighbor reportedly recalls hearing screams. Well, how weird is that? I mean, first of all, if you heard screams on the night of the murder, why didn't you come forward in the last 4 weeks? That's kind of weird. So I don't know if this is just someone messing around or if it's someone who is literally said, well, I think I heard some screams like a month ago when people were being murdered, but let me think about it. Let me think about it for a month or so before I tell the police that there might have been screams that night. I don't know. It's just a weird story. Make of it what you will. I don't know what to say about it. I'm just reading the news here. A man who lives near the home where 4 University of Idaho students were killed last month came forward about hearing a scream early. Let me change this. You guys deserve to see a slightly larger picture of me because I'm so damned handsome. All right, she has come forward. I don't know if it's a man, not a she, but who knows in this world? Beautifully Inappropriate says it's a hoax. I don't know if it's a hoax or I just don't know, but let's read the article and we can decide amongst ourselves how much weight we want to give it. See, this is one of the things. Every story like this that comes in, the police have to investigate. So if you're making up crap, don't do it. You're hindering the investigation. We don't need we don't need the psychic hotline. We don't need all these stories coming in from people that think they know what's happening or they had a dream about it or just let the police do their jobs and don't be hindering the investigation with pointless and irrelevant stuff. But so yeah, we could be false memory, but let's just read it here and see what we're doing. So scream early in the morning of the attacks in the area of the crime scene, according to a local report. Enan Harsh, a local chef, told the Idaho Statesman he got home around 1:30 a.m. on November 13th after working late. The home at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, was usually bustling even at that time, he told the news site, but instead, there was not a lot of activity. Okay, and one thing I need to mention, people have called me on it because occasionally, I know it's pronounced Moscow in that area, and I usually pronounce it Moscow. It should be pronounced Moscow, but occasionally I do pronounce it Moscow. Why? Because most of my friends here in Korea are Russians, and that's just it just comes out. But I know it's Moscow, so if I accidentally do call it Moscow, yeah, don't need to call me out. Hours later, this is hours later after 1:30 a.m. Hours later, as he began to fall asleep, around 4 a.m., he said he heard what sounded like a scream coming from the area of 1122 King Road, the Statesman reported. However, Harsh reportedly did not think much of the scream and instead associated it with a party sound rather than one of more negative value. Did he hear a party? Did he hear a mountain lion? Did he hear a murder? Did he not hear anything? We just don't really know. I didn't think anything of it, Harsh told the news site. After what happened, I've definitely had second thoughts. Maybe it was not a party sound. He reportedly said he did not initially tell police about the sound, adding, I'm not sure what good it does for them now. Well, yeah, maybe it would have been better to mention this a month ago. But yeah. According to the report, yeah. Harsh previously notified police about an unfamiliar black SUV that was parked near the front of the King Road home. Yeah, see, does this guy just want to be part of the news cycle? Is he someone who wants? I mean, call me skeptical, call me, cynical, but he's a chef. He works in a restaurant. Maybe he's the owner of the restaurant. I don't know, but he works in a restaurant, and perhaps he's seeking publicity for his restaurant. I don't know. That's pure speculation, but it's something you can't rule out unless something is done to corroborate or disprove this. But be healthily skeptical, be healthy and cynical. So he's already reported a black SUV. Now he's reporting screams a month later. A Facebook page that appeared to belong to Harsh included a post from November 15th stated, 4 killed in a stabbing across street. No screams, no evidence, no trace. So like professional killers, but why on 3 sorority girls? So yeah, 2 days after the killing, he posts something saying there was no screams. Now, a month later, he might remember some screams. That's why I'm tending to lean towards not even false memory. I'm leaning a bit towards he just wants to be part of the news cycle. He reports a van. It's mentioned he's a chef. I don't know. I'm skeptical. I'm cynical. The 4 people were discovered fatally stabbed inside their 3-story residence just before noon on November 13th. The home is located just 1 block from the University of Idaho campus and within eyeshot of some of the fraternity houses. Officials said they believe the victims were, we know these basic details. Attacks carried out in the second. Earlier this week, police revealed they had received tips and leads about a white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra, and they're still focusing on that. It seems that that's part of one of the main focuses right now of their investigation is finding this Hyundai Elantra. Spotted near the crime scene. They're seeking to speak with a person or people who were inside the vehicle and are asking the public for any information about the vehicle. The Moscow Police Department is urging the public to submit any information. So that's where that goes. So yeah, this was kind of a big story there for a minute. But again, yeah, a chef would know how to use a knife. He would, but again, let's not be too speculative. Because as we'll talk about later, speculating gets me in trouble, apparently. All right. So it seems like just looking at the chat, all you people in chat are sort of the same mind as me. This seems really sus. It doesn't seem legitimate to me. I don't know if he just wants to make a name for himself, be part of the story, or if he's doing it to drum up business. Who knows? All right. Well, that takes us to our second article of the night, which is a video. We got a little bit of video action here. Here we go. Share the screen. This is an investigator talking here about not getting tunnel vision. In there, again, they'll explain what that means, but essentially it's just not focusing on one thing, keeping a wide view, looking at the big picture. Don't get locked into one particular scenario. Let's see what we've got here.
All right, still trying to get to the mystery of what happened in Idaho now almost a month ago. At least the latest is a neighbor now saying 4 college students who were stabbed to death noted that the front door of their home was open hours after the attack. This as the police continue searching for a white Hyundai Elantra that was near the house, presumably at the time of the murder. So there's a lot of pieces there, but having a devil of a time piecing them together. which is why in times like these, I rely on my buddy Ted Williams, the Fox News contributor, former DC homicide detective, great lawyer in his own right, to make sense of what he sees or hears. Ted, this is a head scratcher.
Ted looks kind of
What
like
do
a
you make
zombie.
first of this latest indication from a neighbor? The door was open hours after the attacks.
Well, you know, I have tried, Neil, my friend, to run this down about the Hyundai Elantra.
This guy just literally walked off the set of The Walking Dead. I'm just saying.
The white car that they're looking at, as well as the door being open the next morning. It is my understanding that
if you look in the mirror and say
really
Ted names 3 times, he
non-issue.
appears.
The door would have been open because the students, prior to calling law enforcement to the scene, they called some of the students to the scene there, and law enforcement then was contacted. As it pertains to this white Hyundai Elantra that they're looking for, Neil, my deepest concern here is tunnel vision. Law enforcement officers have to continue to look at this objectively and not subjectively. And I believe that this case is going to be far more driven by the forensic, by the trace evidence that they found in that home that they are now processing.
All right, now this Hyundai Elantra, why is this and has it become such an important issue? Does it warrant that?
Well, you know, I think during the course of the investigation, they've gotten video feeds where they were able to show that possibly at the time of these murders, that white car was in that vicinity. And so as a result of that, they're asking the public for their help with this Hyundai Elantra, this white
Why can
Hyundai
nobody pronounce
Elantra.
it? God.
Are you surprised? What, it's been about a month, right, Ted? And you know this far better than I, but we appear no closer to an answer than we did then.
You know, Neil, I'm very surprised because, you know, I was out there in Moscow, Idaho, and I can tell you the people in that community are very concerned. We were initially told that the student or somebody in that house was a target. Then they backed off and then they say, well, there was a target. That has been frustrating. But what we've been able to do is to piece together some information. Most individuals who have looked at this objectively believe that the killer or killers came through the second floor entrance where they would have possibly killed initially Nathan and Zanya. And then they went up to the third floor where Maddie and Kaylee was sleeping and they killed them. Now, if there
we
was
don't know
a
what
target
order it
and
happened
the target was on the second floor, there would have been no need to go up to the third floor. So it is my understanding that Steve, the father of Kaylee, who was killed, believed that she was targeted, and apparently he's been given some information to that effect from law enforcement. But this is certainly a mystery, and I'm hoping that we'll get more answers sooner than later here, Neil.
Of course, we all want answers sooner
just
than later.
To piece together what you just outlined there, could have been the case of a stalker targeting one, maybe two.
I sent you the link,
in the process and in a hunt going floor to floor, ultimately taking 4 lives.
Absolutely. And again, if his targets were on the second floor, and law enforcement has told us there was a target, then
this man has smaller shoulders than Nick
would
does.
not have had to go to the
like a
third
head
floor.
on a stick.
They did go up there. So I think what law enforcement should be doing is working backwards. I'm hoping that we have more experienced people in the Moscow County or Moscow Police Department, because Neil, the last killing they had out there was 7 years ago. So a lot of people that are on the force now was not on the force 7 years ago.
We're not.
And so they don't have a lot of experience. So they're counting on the FBI and the Idaho State Police to help them in this investigation.
Ted, you know, you really are good, my friend. You piece together stuff that a lot of people miss.
I don't think he really pieced anything together that we missed, but I think it's a good point that the police can't get tunnel vision, and I don't think they have tunnel vision. I don't think they're focusing on any one particular thing or have a particular scenario in mind that they're putting out there. They are clearly searching for this Hyundai. Now, okay, let's get to that right here. They're searching for the car desperately. Joe Choi says some people are stars in their own mind in situations like that. True, correct. Drink, drink, drink. Oh, drink, 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 drink. Nah, it's weekday. It costs a lot of money for me to drink on a weekday. $100 super chats, baby. Kaiser Pineapple. Okay, seriously, why do so many people confuse? This is how you pronounce it. Execution says Hyundai. Incorrect. It is not Hyundai. Although some people think it is for some reason. It is not Hyundai, whatever the hell this guy was saying. It is Hyundai. Like Hyun, I don't know what you like Hyun, like honey, but with a Y. Hyundai, like daytime. Hyundai. It means like modern now. Hyundai it means like now. It's modern kind of thing. So yeah, that's how you pronounce it. It's not Hyundai. Hyundai is a beach just down the street. But anyway, that's how you pronounce it. Hyundai. Exactly. But it's a not a oo. Hyundai. So, but of course, now if you call it a Hyundai in America, nobody has any clue what the hell you're talking about because they all mispronounce it. Paula Williams, welcome to our newest member, Paula Williams. Welcome to Clean and Sober. Thank you so much. Indigo Luna says, no lie, I can't pronounce it either. Lol. Yeah, so it is Hyundai. Not Hyundai, Hyundai. There's definitely a Y in there. So anywho, that's how you pronounce it. I remember there used to be like an old Isuzu commercial. And there was a Japanese guy. He was selling the Isuzu car, and the white guy couldn't pronounce Isuzu, and that was kind of the joke of the advertisement. He was mispronouncing Isuzu through the whole thing, and then at the end, the Japanese guy says, "It's okay, I can't pronounce Chevrolet," and that was. You can't make funny advertisements like that anymore because everybody gets butthurt. But it was kind of funny. I don't know if anybody remember that Isuzu commercial. Moscow, Hyundai, tomato. Jeff is trying to get us institutionalized. I'm already there. So anywho, I think they are desperately seeking this Hyundai. I don't know what they know about it, but it's at very, very least an item of interest. They want to know who was in that car and what they were doing there. Clearly. All right, let's clear a couple of other super chats, then we'll jump into the next story, which is kind of the sad part of it. Well, the whole story is sad, but an extra sad part. Flux says, this dude can't speak. Yep. I thought Meme was home. Meme is still on the train. So anyway, Meme might be here. We might still be streaming when he gets home. If he is, he'll be on. Flux says the dude can't speak, but he's a lawyer. Whatever. And Deborah Breeden. Ever notice triple triangle hazard pattern on MSM talking heads up, makeup like Joy Reid, Tiffany Cross, mindset, Vincent is home from ER and resting. Okay, good that Vincent's home and resting. The triple triangle hazard pattern on mainstream media. And I'm Dave. Hi, Dave. Dave's not here, man. Wow, Vices is more Korean than I thought. I'm not sure why you said that, but okay. Yeah, Homer, that guy's a lawyer. Will he be sober? Talking about Meme? Probably not, because he's been out drinking with Andrew all night long. And it is 12:01 a.m. currently here in Japan and Korea. Let's see. You guys are funny. All right. The next article, this takes it back to an even more somber tone than it already has been. Because this past week in Moscow, Idaho, at the university, it was graduation time. So, it's Idaho murders. Police urge public to stay vigilant as families gather for fall graduation. You've had the graduating class this year at University of Idaho have it really bad. For 2.5 years, everything went to hell because of COVID. Now it comes back. People are out. People are looking forward to the graduation. Then this happens. And so it puts a damper on what should have been a really, really huge graduation. Yeah, fall graduation. Universities usually have a couple of graduations every year, depending on when you complete your college courses. Let's see. We need to embiggen this here so we can get a better read. But I don't need to make it bigger because I have a giant monitor now. Yay me. So Moscow, Idaho. Let's see, I did it again. Moscow, Idaho. As friends and family gather on the University of Idaho's campus for weekend graduation. Oh, who's that? Who's that scary looking dude? Go away. You freaked me out, dude. All right. He's gone. He's gone. We're all safe from Ted Kaczynski looking mofo there. As friends and family gather on the University of Idaho's campus this weekend for fall graduation, feelings of excitement and relief to be finishing school or the semester are shrouded by an air of mystery surrounding the November 30th murders of 4 students. Moscow authorities have not named any suspects or made any arrests in the case, since the 4 students were stabbed to death in their home near campus between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. that Sunday. With commencement this weekend, there will be an influx of people coming in from out of town, the Moscow Police Department said in a Saturday morning press release, adding that the department and Idaho State Police will provide coverage on campus and in the Moscow area. As always, we want to remind people to stay vigilant, travel in groups, and communicate with family and friends as you travel. University President Scott Green remembered the slain students as bright lights on our campus and cherished members of the U of I community during his Saturday commencement speech before holding a moment of silence in their memories. These are the 2 housemates that survived. On Friday evening at the Corner Club, a popular U of I watering hole where conclaves or conclaves and help. This is my Hyundai. Goncalves. For some reason I wanted to say concave or anywho. Goncalves and Mogan. This is Steve's daughter, by the way. And Mogan were seen at this Corner Club on the evening of November 12th. The student told Fox News Digital that she hadn't seen the bar so crowded since homecoming weekend in September. So people went there to pay their respects. Dozens of friends and family celebrated in the brightly lit bar that is an easy walking distance from downtown Moscow. Well, downtown Moscow is, the center of Moscow is a 20-minute walk from anywhere else in town, essentially. It's a very, very small town. From downtown Moscow were Goncalves and Mogan later stopped by a food truck in the early morning of November 13th before they returned home around 1:56 a.m. They talk about the murders again, throw the picture. This is what I was saying. It's been a tough few years for seniors. Just as students were making up for time lost with each other during the coronavirus pandemic, tragedy struck. Students on campus are concerned and confused why the killer hasn't been caught yet. This is part of the problem with these TV serials, the SVU and all the CSIs. That's not how real murder investigations work. The first 24, 48 hours is the golden window. That's the golden opportunity to catch someone quickly. And when it's like this, where there's a dearth of evidence, it can take months or even years to find a killer if the killer is ever found. It's not a TV show, guys. You're in this for the long haul. People don't leave the murder weapon sitting around all the time. They don't drop their wallet with their driver's license in it or near the scene of the crime like they do in the TV shows. That's not how life works. I know it's pronounced Goncalves, but I just can't do it. My tongue just wants to say concave, but that's just me. They're also looking out for each other, traveling in groups, and trying not to spook each other. Final exams are on December 12th, and students are preparing to leave campus for the second time after the murders and Thanksgiving break. Students who left campus on Thanksgiving break were given an option to stay home and learn remotely. An estimated 25 to 40% of the school's 11,500 person population did not return to the campus after the holiday. And this is another article that mentions they're searching for the Hyundai Elantra that was spotted near the crime scene. And the Moscow Police Department has 6 detectives and 5 support staff assigned to the case, with help from 46 FBI investigators in Moscow and throughout the United States, 2 behavior analysis unit investigators, 13 Idaho State Police investigators, and 15 uniformed troopers. So there's a huge contingent of local, state, and federal people working on this case. It's not like there's 3 cops in Moscow and they just gave up on it and they're calling it a cold case and walking away. Police have yet to announce any kind of motive in the quadruple murder. Again, tipsters call the line. Real tipsters, not fake tipsters. It's sad that this has to happen right around Thanksgiving, right around Christmas, right around graduation, and two of the victims were supposed to be graduating that day. So that just makes it just even more tragic and sad.
Idaho, where a day usually filled with celebration was overshadowed by sadness. The University of Idaho's winter graduation included a tribute to the 4 students murdered nearly 1 month ago. One of those victims, Kaylee Gonzalez, was expected to walk across the stage and get her diploma. Instead, police packed up her belongings as her family still awaits justice in this
Gonzalez.
case. Our friend Alexis McAdams is live in Moscow
Gonzalez.
as police issue
says
a new
Goncalves
warning.
to me.
Alexis, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Lawrence, well, since you were on the ground just the other day, we've had some new pieces of information, like investigators looking for a car, but this should be a weekend of celebration here. You can see behind me that the streets in downtown Moscow near the university are pretty empty because the mood here is somber, though it should be pretty much celebratory this weekend. But tonight, investigators are trying to figure out exactly what people know about this case, as the killer is not yet behind bars. They're telling people to be vigilant. Take a live look here at the crime scene. We have a camera there right now and can kind of give you an up-close look at exactly what we've seen out there just in the past 24 hours. You can see it's still covered in yellow tape there as police investigate the quadruple murder that has rocked the University of Idaho campus, Lawrence. These innocent college kids stabbed to death nearly 1 month ago, and still no arrest in the case. The families of Xana Kernodle, Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, and Ethan Chapman left with more questions than answers. You can see in this drone video just the layout of the house. We now know the victims all got back to the home around 2 o'clock in the morning that day, and police say they were killed sometime between 3 and 4 in the morning. What happened inside the house, Lawrence, still under investigation. The police chief tells me they're looking for a fixed blade knife, and until they have an arrest, they're talking to everyone. Just because someone's been cleared right now, does that mean they might be re-interviewed?
Many hours have gone into that.
See, and this is the thing. This is one of the things I was harping on last Friday. Just because someone has been cleared doesn't mean they've really been cleared. One of these people that have been cleared may actually be a suspect that they're focusing on. And again, this is speculation on my part, but it's not that uncommon for them to clear someone that they think might be who they're looking for and hoping that that someone will start to slip up. They'll get confident because they think they've been cleared. They start talking, they start visiting places, they start doing things, and that trips them up eventually. So just because they're saying someone has been cleared doesn't really mean they've been cleared. And that's another reason why they would continue to go back and continue to question people that have already been cleared. Because if someone thinks they've been cleared and they get questioned again, they might think, okay, I can say a little more. I can add a little more to the story. And also it does help the people that are actually cleared to see if they've remembered anything, to hear the story again, and they can sort of judge how the stories change.
And several investigators in the investigative team have all looked at the information that comes in, and they've verified that those people can be cleared. So what I want to assure them is we're doing everything we can, and we're taking our time to do it right.
So investigators believe they are on the right track, Lawrence, but still more questions than answers for these poor kids' families. Police are looking for a white Hyundai Elantra. You can see it
Again,
next to me here.
mentioning
It's
the
a stock
Hyundai
photo or
Elantra.
an
They
example
want
that
this
police
car.
released. They believe it's a 2011 to a 2013 Elantra that was parked or driving by the home around the time of the murders. They believe the person or people in that car have vital information in the case. This all comes, as we mentioned, the police are now putting out information that if you're near the campus or in Moscow, Idaho, you should be traveling in groups and remaining vigilant, which has a lot of people here on edge. Lawrence.
Yeah, it's just so confusing because they said it was a targeted attack that now suggests if people should be in fear for their life, that this guy may attack again. Thanks so much, Alexis.
I don't think the police said that people should be in fear for their lives. The police aren't going to say it was a target attack, but everybody should be in fear of their lives. They're saying be careful. Just because you think it may have been a targeted attack doesn't mean that it was. And again, they're saying they at least publicly, they haven't said whether they believe the house was targeted or the individuals in the house were targeted. So, I mean, they're not saying be in fear of your life. They're saying be careful, because at the end of the day, whoever did this is still out there. You know, the media's got to keep the story straight. The media's got to keep the story right. Now we've got an issue. Steve, the father of Kaylee Gonzalez, he's back. He's talking more than ever. Now, before we start this, I really need to say something. If you want to read the whole drama, go back to Friday's stream, go to the chat, and read this very, very long thread of about 18 comments back and forth with a particular person. I'm not gonna mention any names here. It's there in the chat if you want to see it. But this person accused me of, well, first of all, they said that one of the super chatters said that Steve's dad, Steve did it. One of the chatters said that Steve did it, and I agreed with them. That, plain and simply, never happened. I absolutely never agreed with any super chatter that said that Steve did it. That just did not happen. And I mentioned that in reply because they were critical, saying, oh, yeah, at the end of the day, when the real killer is caught, you're going to be there for, saying you're still going to be out there saying Steve did it. It's going to stick with you forever. I didn't say Steve did it. I didn't agree with anybody that said Steven did it. No. Dogs, stop it. Damn. It's like a little bulldog in a china shop here under the desk. Yeah. X-Comer says, what? Did Steve do it? No, Steve didn't do it. This whole thing never happened. And I mentioned that. And then it got into this, well, yes, you did. I said, no, go back and show me where. Show me the timestamp where I said this. No answer. Just, well, you said it. You did. And I just go back and find the timestamp where, because clearly you weren't listening or you were misinterpreting something. And, find it. Show me where you think I said this and we'll talk about it. Again, it was more accusing me of lying, accusing me of gaslighting them because I continued to insist it never happened, where all I'm asking is for that person to put the evidence there. And what happened in the meantime, about a few hours after I got off the stream, last Friday's stream, I got a copyright claim. Because if you saw the whole stream, if you saw the whole stream, there was a little buffer between stories I did about a guy that was drunk in a Las Vegas, in the Clark County jail in Las Vegas. He was giving them a hard time, being drunk and bothering people. We showed that video. I got a copyright claim for that. And this was like early morning my time, so it was the middle of the night there just a few hours after the stream finished. So the YouTube has this thing where if you get a copyright claim, it sends you a notice, it sends you an email saying you've got the copyright claim. Then you can go into the YouTube studio and pull up that copyright claim. And there's one, you can click one button that says trim, that is specifically for trimming out the portion that has been copyright claimed. And so I did that. Now I just hit the click button to get rid of that stupid Las Vegas jail video. And when you have a 5-hour stream done in standard definition and high definition, it can take 2 or 3 days for YouTube to process the video in both SD and HD and then re-upload it and replace the copyright claimed video. So it took about 40 hours, if I remember correctly. I don't know. The details are in the damn chat. So it took a couple of days for that trim to be shown. And so part of this stream was the person that was accusing me of lying and saying Steve did this, which I clearly didn't, and I continue to maintain that, said, oh, well, you know you did because it was there and then you edited it out because, you know, the chat's not available. And, you know, if you edit it, the chat's no longer available. And I said, well, yeah. And I explained exactly what I just explained to you. And they said, oh, yeah, you're lying. They didn't believe me. So I copied and pasted the email I got from YouTube saying that you had this part copyright claimed. And I even offered that to forward the actual email that I got from YouTube so they could see that I hadn't made it up or messed with it. But no, they didn't want that. They just continued to say, I'm lying, I'm gaslighting, I'm ghosting, I'm lying about it. You know it was there before you edited it out. And all I'm saying is it was like an hour and 20 minutes we talked about this. Go watch the damn video, find it. It'll be there. I swear to God, it'll be there because I haven't edited 1 second, not even a half a second out of the University of Idaho murder section of that video. And it continued just to be, you know, calling me a liar and saying this happened. I thought you were better than this. I thought you were. And I said, look, what I will do, I'll even help you out. I'll give you the raw, unedited version of the video that StreamYard has saved. So you can bring them both up on the screen and you can watch it second by second to see if anything was edited out of the University of Idaho section of that. Again, I'm called a liar and everybody's telling me, you know, well, not everybody, this one person is saying that, you know, you did it, you know, and it's uncalled for to be calling me. There's no uncalled for, like blaming one of the fathers. And this went on and on and on. And finally, I said, look, if you weren't a valued member, I mean, it's one of the members. If you're a valued subscriber and a valued member, I wouldn't even care what you thought. But because you're a regular viewer, because you are a member, because you're a subscriber, I care and I want you to understand the situation. And I said, what? And then it continued to deteriorate. And I said, look, I'm tired of this. I will. And I offered them $1,000 cash. It's right there in the comments. You can go back and watch the comment, read the comments from last Friday. It's not a troll. See, that's me and my fuzzy nuts. Alan says, fuck the trolls. They come here. It was not a troll. It's one of the members. It's one of us that was accusing me of this. But I said, I'll give you $1,000 cash. If you can go just watch this thing, and if you can find any evidence, a screen, you know, a frame jump, a screen cut, a broken sentence, I will give you $1,000. And that was the last email. Never got an answer from it. So, you know, I don't edit videos, and I stand by what I said. They're, oh, you're just ashamed of what you said about Steve, so you edit it out. Hell no. I stand by everything I said about Steve. Steve, I think, is being a hindrance to this investigation. Why would I delete that? That was my pride and joy. I loved that rant about Steve. I might even just clip it and post that as just its own separate little thing. Screw Steve. Steve is being an asshole, and I stand by that. So I haven't, and here's what it is. Here's the funny part. Again, they're not trolls. It's a member. It's a subscriber. It's just, you know, they misinterpreted something. And I'll tell you what it is. I've watched, and literally just to see what the hell, I went, oh, and they're like, you know, you have a list of the super chats and can read. I said, no, I don't have a list of the super chats. I have 2 lists of the super chats. One that I make through a third party app and one that is permanently forever on YouTube. And I've gone through them. Nothing I could see. And then I watched the video again myself twice, just for shits and giggles, to make sure that I didn't accidentally say something. And the only thing I can think it is, the only thing that even remotely comes close to anything vaguely resembling what I was accused of doing was started by this gentleman here. Legendary Racing made one joke, and you can go back to Friday and watch this at about the 1 minute, the 1 hour mark, like literally the 1 hour mark to about 103 or 104. Legendary Racing made a joke that said, plot twist, it was the dad, or plot twist, it was Steve, something like that. It was just that. And my immediate response was, no, that would require some serious 4D chess. And I don't think he has that level of 4D chess in him. That is the only fucking thing in that entire 5-hour stream that even remotely came close to suggesting that Steve did it. And I never fucking agreed with it, even as a joke, because I remember when that came in, and that was my thought was, holy shit, if I go, it's a possibility, then, that would be bad. Because someone would think that shit. Someone wouldn't think it was funny, which is what happened. So I distinctly remember saying that when he said, and it was such a joke that it didn't even register that that's what she could be thinking about. Oops, I've just doxed that it was a female. But yeah, Legendary Racing made the joke that, plot twist, it was him. And I'm like, no, that would require some 4D in chess that I don't think he's capable of. And that was it. And this started this whole shitstorm. So we've got Meme Copium here. We'll see exactly how sober you are. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I do have some breaking evidence that I have to share. If you just give me a moment, I just booted up my PC, and I'm just brought back from the streets. Realistically, you're talking about Steve. Is that the father? Is that the father?
Yeah.
Now, he did change all the locks in the house 2 weeks before, so I can understand why people would be...
Don't even fucking go down that road. That was a joke.
No, the thing is, Steve is unironically hurting the case, but the thing is, he feels so guilty that I bet that's why he's doing all this like bullshit, is because he changed the locks, and now he feels like he's got to make up for it, right? It makes sense.
I get why. I mean, your daughter's dead. You want answers. Breaking news. We'll get to the breaking news here in a minute. We got to go through the old news first. Save that for like 4
let me.
From
all right. I got something.
I
just got home though. I just got home. It's like 12:20 a.m. in Japan.
It is.
Okay.
It is. Andrew made it safely back to his back to his dwelling.
Yeah, of course. He lived in Shiz. I mean, he's in. Oh, I'm not going to say. I shouldn't say.
Yeah.
Well, but yes, continue. As I just do a couple of admin stuff while I just wrote booting things up.
So the person that said that, and bless you, I still love you as a member, as a subscriber, and as a contributor, but go back and watch it. I'm not going to do your damn work for you. I never said he did it. I didn't even agree with the joke. It was like, it's plot twist. And I said, no, that requires Meme. Do you think Steve did it? Says XComer. No, he doesn't think Steve did it.
No, I mean,
nobody thinks Steve did it.
I think that Steve, he's a father, right? He did some work on the house. He's protective. He tried to fix the locks, and now this killer goes through and takes out, his kid and everyone else in there. Well, I mean, the 4 out of 6 of the people there, and this is the worst feeling as a father. Like, you're feeling you had no power, you could not do anything. In fact, you may have actually helped the person by doing a bad job on the I fully believe that Steve did a great job on the locks, but he probably thinks if I had just done a better job on those locks, then everything would have been fine. Now he's in a position where he can't do anything except is this the guy? I'm not sure if it's Steve that's doing this, but he's hiring private detectives, which can't do shit because they don't have access to the crime scene. He's going and doing these interviews. He's trying to give out information the police has not released because he's trying to do everything he can do just to help this case. He's a father that's looking for a way to help his deceased daughter. This is you got to think about what these people are going through. And he's not necessarily making the rest. And I agree. He's making bad decisions in this case. He's actually hurting the case. But that's because he's a father and he's grieving. it's understandable. It's very human.
Yeah, I understand why he's saying this crap, why he's being critical, I understand why he's doing it, but understanding why he is doing it doesn't mean he should be doing it. And we had some of those comments, well, First Amendment means he can say whatever he says. Well, yeah, he can, but he shouldn't. You let them do their jobs. And again, as we talked about, when Steve says, oh, they've told me that it was this person targeted, or they went through this door, that immediately tells the killer, who undoubtedly in my mind is watching all of the news to see what they know. It's like, okay, they know this targeted this person. So immediately, rather than everyone in 4 people's extended relationships, you immediately can narrow it down to one person and the people they were associated with. And that pulls the noose a little bit tighter on you, and then you can run. Just keep your mouth shut, Steve. But it's not just me that's going on about Steve. It's other people now are starting to put her dad, Kaylee Gonzalez's dad, on blast. Let me quickly plow through these super chats, and then we'll get to someone else being critical of him, not just me. That dude is a poster child for everyone. Just gets a trophy. Oh yeah, the news announcer dude. That's possible. Kaiser Pineapple, did that map at the beginning of the clip show Moscow, Idaho in freaking Arizona? Oh, I didn't notice that. I hope it didn't. That would be really bad if it did. But I've closed the window, so I can't go back and look at it. Legendary Racing, yes, that was you. I was the super chatter. It was a joke, and you didn't agree. You said it was 4D chess that he wasn't capable of. Exactly what I just said. So yeah, and that was the thing. Is I just go back and watch it. You'll see, and just tell me, give me a time. They wouldn't even do that. They wouldn't go back and watch it. They wouldn't give a timestamp. They wouldn't alert me to it. And we'll get to why this is just chafing my britches here in just a second.
Did you see the people that are fabricating evidence in this case?
Oh God, no.
So there are YouTubers that are actually making false evidence in this just to get views. It's despicable, absolutely despicable.
Yuck. Well, hang on, just real quick here. Flux says, even if you did say it, we all knew it was a joke, and I didn't say it. So I remember the construction comment and a joke about Steve. Yeah, but it was a joke, Lord people, and it was a joke that I didn't even agree with. Fusion F says, why bitch about a troll? Block and move on. Why bitch about the troll was because this person was saying that I was saying some fucked up shit. Not only was I saying some fucked up shit, I was lying about it and ghosting people and twisting it. And the one thing that sets me off is when people call me a liar. I don't know why. That's just my fucking trigger point. Why would I lie about that? I said it and I meant it, and I'm gonna say it again tonight. So yeah, I'm not blocking that because I don't block people. I'm bitching about it because it called my character and integrity into question, and that pisses me off. Legendary Racing says trolls can be members. Yeah, it's a nice member though. It's just this one weird thing that went off the deep end. Legendary is not true. I think Steve did it. You're not helping, and no, he didn't do it. In case anybody else is wondering.
I mean,
but
if look, Murphy would have done it before Steve. Okay.
Yeah.
Murphy the dog, by the way.
We've got the Spitfire says, I clearly remember, and you are right, of course, word for word. I know. But
people get into these weird sort of fixations with their own memory is very fallible, right? People make mistakes all the time, and you probably know this as a lawyer. If anyone or any lawyer that's worked in a criminal case or watched a criminal case, memory is one of the worst pieces of evidence that there is, because people just don't remember things accurately. Like, your brain does not have space to remember everything. How it works. What you do is your brain has a certain amount of concepts, and then you use your imagination to fill in the gaps. That's why you can remember things from your childhood which are different colors, events that never happened. It's just not reliable. And people are adamant that their memory is 100% correct. It's just not the case.
But that person would rather accuse me of lying, editing it out, re-uploading it, ghosting people, changing the story, being ashamed, than just going back and watching the fucking video.
No, the YouTube copyright claims, like when I was on the train back, last train, by the way. But when I was on the train back, I was listening to that, and I was just nodding my head, because people that are in the chat, you don't have the whole picture of what it's like to make videos, and that's nothing wrong with that, because you're just in the audience. But specifically for my streams, if I go longer than 6 hours, you can't edit a video. You can't edit any video. So if you get one copyright claim on a video that's 6 hours and 1 second, you can't edit it. So I'm gonna have to delete a couple of my streams because I just got a bunch of copyright claims by playing.
I just had that happen last week.
It's
One
the
of my
worst thing in the
trial
world because
streams.
YouTube
6
has like this
hours
feature.
and 2 minutes, and so
Right?
I got demonetized for a 3-second sound. I think it was when you were
Exactly.
on. When
Exactly.
There was
No,
it
it's
with
like a
you? We were
7
showing videos, and there was like a soundtrack from Pirates of the Caribbean. I had like a
That's probably the Johnny
3-second
Depp
clip.
video. I don't think that was me. It's
Oh,
possible.
it was on.
Oh, no.
it
I
was-
remember you were doing a Maritime Monday with a Johnny Depp, a Pirates of the Caribbean song. I do remember that.
Oh, there
But
was
that
there was
wasn't on that
another one
stream.
where we still use it, but there was like a 3-second clip that got.
No, yeah, it's
a
like
6 hour
3
and 2 minute
seconds in
stream
7
deleted.
hours, and you get demonetized. It's terrible. And if you're over, it's specifically if the stream is over 6 hours, I think maybe 5 hours. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I don't usually go that long, but
Yeah.
but
So
I
anywho, that's where that's where
anyway.
it was.
Let me show this unseen evidence. Okay, this
Marv,
is
you're not helping by saying Steve did it. No, he did.
breaking news. Not in the Idaho case though, but it is breaking news evidence. I'm showing my screen right now.
Oh, is this the YouTube people?
No, this is confirmed that
Oh.
Andrew is converted catgirl aficionado, straight from
Oh,
Kuroneko
dear.
in Osaka. Thank you from Eurochan.
Thank
She
you.
was actually very lovely, very lovely. We went to the Maid Catgirl Cafe, and you know what? It's actually pretty fun. We had a great time, and yeah, just a bit of a palate cleanser for the chat because it's a very spicy topic. But no, like. He breaks out that he's a lawyer. The Catgirls were very impressed. Even one of the
Well-
Catgirls was actually a lawyer in training. So there you go. People can be all shapes and spaces. This is unseen. This is an exclusive breaking evidence, but we do have confirmation. But you, mate, you got to come down to Osaka. We're going to take you out for a good night. We're going to take you out for a good night. Trust me.
Probably around Lunar New Year time,
Yeah.
either that weekend or the weekend before or the weekend after. Because when I emailed you, when I sent you the text to see if you were available, I get a text from Andrew. Hey Jeff, Mima's with me drinking, so he can't make it. Haha, his phone is dead. I said, well, enjoy.
No, yeah, like it's so cold over here right now.
Yeah.
My phone, like it was at 20% power, but it died because it was too cold when we were walking through the streets of Osaka.
And he
but
says,
we
you need
found a
to
woman.
come on a weekend so we can do Osaka After Dark episode. There are streets of ladies that need your expert review. And I said, that's the plan. He said, well, it's on. So-
We had an idea for a show called Best Girl, and we just go around these streets and we just rank the best girl. Trust me, you'll be blown away. You'll be blown away. You'll be blown away. It's going to be fun.
All right. Well, now let's get back to Steve here.
Yep. Let's get back into it.
Let's get back
Had
to
a-
Steve. All right. Bring up the share screen. Okay, time to vent here. Idaho murders. Father of slain victim says she had big open wounds, calls police cowards. I don't
Please
like
be
Steve.
cowards. That doesn't make sense.
Kaylee
They're doing everything
Gonzalez,
they can do.
or
Like that doesn't
Gon
make any
Calves.
sense whatsoever.
I know. The father of the slain University of Idaho student, Kaylee Gonzalez, and I swear to God, I either call her concaves or congalves every time I say her name.
I think it's Gonzalez or something. I don't know.
Gonzalez is, yeah.
Gonzalez. That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had difficulty with it too. That's why you go
Told
to
the
the
Fox
first
Digital
names.
Network.
Yeah.
Yeah. That the victims had big open gouges that were clearly the work of a sadistic male and called police cowards for not sharing more with the public. Steve
That's,
Gonzalez.
It's
Yeah.
not a great statement. I mean, the police are not giving out information so that they don't have people interfering with the case. Now, could the police have done more? Perhaps. But people are literally interfering with this case in real time. People are calling up the bars that these girls went to and saying that you're the person. They're going to the house. They're messing with the crime scene. This is going crazy. People are fabricating evidence. So there's this one particular YouTuber, and he faked a call, and he said this is a call from a neighbor that recorded a woman screaming, "Stop it!" He had like this like deep breathing sort of thing, and he's like, this is a call from the neighbors at 2 a.m. and like he has about 100,000 views in this video. One of those people is going to share that with the police hotline tip. And then that's the best lead the police have at this, because we all know that the police have nothing basically going on because of this. Like they're looking for this Hyundai. Is that how you say it? Hyundai. Yeah. But yeah, like the police literally have nothing. They're looking for a car that maybe had somebody sleeping in it in the early morning hours, and they're just hoping that there's anything. The police are on the ropes at the moment, right? So they get maybe a tip from this guy that's faking information. That makes them overjoyed. They're like happy and everything. But no, this guy's just literally faking them for views, and he's done this so many times. He's done this like 3-4 times, according to when we were going through on my stream. absolute piece of shit. I can only wish the worst for him. But like, this
Well,
is what
hopefully
people are
that'll
doing.
happen.
This is what people are doing. People are so invested in this. They think it's a TV show. They think they can solve it. Because I think you mentioned that earlier, right? You were saying it's like people think it's
Yeah.
like true crime TV show.
Yeah.
Because I said this very early, but people think that there is in a TV show you have like 10 main characters, right? And one of these main characters did it. That's always the case. But so people look at all the characters involved and they say this has to be one of the people. It has to be one of them. It's in a town of 25,000 people. It's the potential killer is 1 in 25,000, but they think it's 1 in 10, and it's only the 10 that they've seen because of the reporting. And no, people are interfering with this, and it's fine to speculate. It's fine to make theories. It's fine to report on it. Do not get involved in the lives of the people there, and do not get involved with the police case, or you're a part of the problem.
And let's hear what Steve has else to say. What else Steve has to say here? She says, "Sir, I don't think stab." She's talking about the coroner. And we'll talk about a little bit about the coroner here, and we're going to show a video clip next that talks a little bit about the coroner and why she isn't really qualified to be saying anything, and why it's weird if she did say anything. He said he asked the coroner, Kathy Mabbutt, how many times the victims were stabbed. She says, "Sir, I don't think stabs is the right word. It was like tears. This was like a strong weapon, not like a stab." That would be weird if she would say that. Anyway, he told Fox News Digital Sunday, she said these were big open gouges. She said it was quick. These weren't something where you were going to be able to call 911. They were not going to slowly bleed out, he said. Kaylee Gonzalez and her best friend, Madison Mogen, Xanda, and her boyfriend, Ethan, were slaughtered. We know that. Moscow police, working with the FBI and Idaho State Police, have yet to publicly name a suspect or recover the fixed blade knife they believe was used in the horrific attack that has left small college town reeling from grief. Gonzalez said his daughter's injuries definitely did not match Mogen's wounds. See, this is weird. There's no reason why a coroner would be comparing injuries and telling parents. That just doesn't make any sense, but we'll talk about that here in just a second. Let's get through the article.
Yeah, okay. That makes me think
they may have individually died from the exact same thing, being stabbed, but there are more details, he added. They're not even close to matching. Did the coroner show them the other girl's body? I doubt that. Steve is beginning to seem to me to be one of these problems, like you said, and like I've said before, he's grief stricken, but there's also he wants to be the solution, and I think he might be exaggerating, misconstruing, or misunderstanding what's being told to him and reporting it. The knife slashed open Kaylee Gonzalez's liver and lungs, he said. The grieving father paid for a copy of his daughter's certificate, which included some details of her injuries, but he doesn't know whether his daughter or Mogen were the targets. I have my own suspicions, he said. His daughter and Mogen were ambushed in their sleep and found in the same bed, according to the coroner. I must say it again. Gonzalez surmised that they died in Mogen's bedroom on the 3rd floor because there are photos of Kaylee's room with no blood on the bed. He added that his investigators didn't obscure the windows in his daughter's room like they did for the other victims. And although the coroner told Gonzalez that the victims died quickly and did not suffer, he said he's not convinced. So he's relying on things that the coroner may or may not have said. But if the coroner says something he doesn't disagree with, then he's not convinced. He is getting the tunnel vision that we don't want the police to have. To me, he's believing what he wants to believe, and then what he hears, he interprets through this filter that he's got going on of maybe the guilt and maybe the fact just that his daughter's dead. Kaylee had defensive wounds, and Chapin were found on the 2nd floor. It was a hell of a battle going on down there, from what the coroner told us. That's not what the coroner tells you. The coroner doesn't tell you there was a hell of a battle going on down there. That's what the crime scene investigators tell you.
No.
And
now
there
has been some details since we did a stream about it. The details, I believe this was before we did a stream. But there was something that was kind of weird, which was that they reported there was multiple wounds, or defensive wounds, on suspects, not just singular. So we know that Xana had defensive wounds on her arms, and that's because obviously she'd be sleeping with Ethan. Ethan gets stabbed first, then she wakes up because of the screaming or the sound or the pressure, and then you put your arms up, you can receive defensive wounds. That makes sense right now. But there was more than one person that had defensive wounds, and we didn't know about this until the coroner said. But the 2 other girls, Kaylee and Madison, were actually found in the same room. That is a new detail as of like 1 or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, they were like cuddling or something. So that, again, the same thing applies. One gets stabbed and the other person puts up their arms to get defensive wounds. Does that mean they fought a valiant battle, like a last stand against realistically, no. They just like woke up groggy, sleepy, and then they maybe put up their arms in a last-ditch effort. It's a very sad situation.
Yeah.
But the people are kind of selling this as like there's some sort of heroic, like, fight or something. That's not
Yeah,
the case.
and
It's,
that's what
I
it
mean,
makes
it's
it
a
sound like.
sad, it's a tragic story, but people are taking this a little bit too far on this.
Yeah. And Mabbitt, the coroner, when reached by phone, declined to comment on information. Boy, let's try that again. When reached by phone, declined to comment on the information she disclosed to Gonzalez. Of course she did. The coroner told him, he says, that the perpetrator was a strong individual, but police have yet to identify the suspect's gender. I got outraged by them not just coming out and saying this was a woman or a man, because they should know by the amount of strength it took to deliver the injuries. Again, the police aren't going to tell you every fucking thing about the investigation. Everything that gets out into the public is something that tells the killer they're onto them.
Yeah.
If you say it was a man,
it's
then
pretty obvious that
immediately
it's a man.
yeah,
I mean,
but
in my
if you
opinion.
once you say it's a man, clearly then you have literally excluded over 50% of the population from the equation.
Perhaps more, actually, because this is a college town and women
Yeah.
are more likely to go to college than men. And it's like
True.
in Idaho, there's 25,000 residents and 11,000 students. It's almost half the
Yeah.
population. But if it's like maybe 60% female, I don't know. I'm just making a guess here. But this is my experience from my university. It was like 65, 70% women.
Yeah.
But no, it
But
could
they're just
honestly
being
be, but
cowards, he says. They're just being
that
cowards
doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why would they be cowards? Like
because they're not saying the information. There are girls walking around the street right now that deserve to know. They should
No,
be looking out for a sadistic male. You should always be looking out for a sadistic male. You should always
you
be
should,
looking
you
out
should.
for bad guys.
No, I mean, I have my criticisms of the police in this case, but based on the actual, like, what the public has done, they're actually making a lot of great. There's a lot of vigilante sort of justice going on with it. People are very, very engaged and wrapped up in this case. People are going out to Idaho. They're staking out things personally. They're going around and they're like, they're casing the crime scene. Some people have crossed the barrier. They should not be doing this. Like, if you go to Idaho and you go around and you just don't enter the crime scene, that's fine, I guess. But no, this is affecting the people's lives daily. Like, literally, the bar owner, the bar that Kaylee and Madison were at on the night just before going to the Grubhub truck, that guy is getting death threats because people think like you should have done something to say what you should have done something.
Yeah.
What is he supposed to follow these girls home and make sure they don't get stabbed? These girls got home safe and then they locked the door allegedly behind them, and the club owner is at fault. People are rabid and insane in this case, and I've been following it quite closely. But no, people are much too invested in this, and they get to have this nice position of staying behind in their comfy house, calling people over the internet and giving them death threats from the safety of thousands of miles away. Must be fucking nice. Must be fucking nice.
And police said in a statement they will not comment on or release specific details of the crime. It is what we must do to preserve the integrity of the investigation. And even if you're one of these people that watch all the crime dramas on TV, you know that they specifically don't release all of the details. So if they do bring in, and as I was saying earlier, even though they've said people are cleared, may not necessarily mean they're actually cleared. So what they want is to bring someone back in for questioning or someone new in for questioning and having that person mention something that they have not released to the public. And if they release everything they know to the public, they have no surprises that they can go, aha, we never told anybody about that, and focus on that person. So this is why the police don't tell you all the details of every investigation. They need those things to not reveal to the person they're closing in on them, and also to have some of these background, like the colors of socks or the locations of the stab wounds, things like that people can mention during the interrogations that were never released to the public. So they said we have to do to preserve the integrity.
It makes sense because there are certain individuals in this case that seem incredibly suspicious, and they were cleared by the police very early on. And just because they were cleared does not mean they're not guilty. But
exactly, if
you look at this from the outside, it seems so perfect. There are a few perfect profiles for criminals in this case and around Idaho. Like just recently, there was actually when I was doing a stream with this on Andrew, somebody sent us a DM like of a guy that fit the bill perfectly, like a guy that works at a construction site. He had a knife, he had some wounds. He's literally been convicted for manslaughter before. Well, I mean, he took a plea He claims it was self-defense. He took a plea to avoid 15 years and he got like probation. But he was also a domestic abuser and he lived about a mile away. And me and Andrew saw this live while we were doing a stream about this. And we decided not to run with it because I was like, I cannot verify this. One source only is reporting this. And what I do when I report news is I look to 2 to 3 sources and see if there's a consensus. And then I kind of make my own gut sort of judgment because, you know, I try to report as much as I can.
I ignored that story
but
specifically because it's a guy
because
beating his
that
wife
story
and a
was
mile
totally false. That story was totally, and he's like the perfect. No, it was absolutely false. It's nowhere near connected to this story.
Well, I mean, but I mean, this guy was arrested, but I never.
Oh no, yeah, but not for this. But like now his family is being harassed because of this. Like, and like the dude is literally in custody awaiting $100,000 bail. His family lives in a trailer park, and the family in the trailer park with a daughter of I think 15 and 20, and they have a grandson as well. Like they're not. It's like just like people that live in the trailer park, or whatever. They're now getting death threats, harassment calls constantly. Like these people are lying their ways into press conferences, pretending they're journalists from other counties and things. Like people are insane with this case, and they're just making things worse. And like, I mean, I'm still with my original, like you said, I think a bit earlier in the stream before I jumped up, like the first 24 hours is the most critical. Yeah. And then after then, like maybe the first week, it's been a month. There is, like I said, when this first started, 5% chance they solve this. It's now down to like 2 to 3%, maybe 1%. It's not going to be easy. I mean, it's basically unsolvable at this point, unless the killer fucks up, unless he does it again, unless he starts goading the police. At least maybe he gets away with it. Maybe he thinks he's like God, he's untouchable or something. Like a lot of killers kind of have this sort of superiority complex, especially if they get away with the first one, and then they start like dropping hints. But if it's his case to escape from now, like all he has to do is just walk away.
Well, that's why the police are saying things like this. We want more than an arrest. We want justice. It takes time to do it right. Look at the Alec Baldwin thing. That's a cut and dried thing, but it's still been over a year and no one's been charged yet. Then they know who did it. So if they focus on, if they make a charge right now, maybe they do have someone in their head. If they make a charge now, they've got to make it stick, and they're going to be accused of tunnel vision, not looking at the big picture, not considering all the evidence, not considering other people. Let the police do their job. If it takes a week, a month, a year, 10 years, and maybe even never.
Now, to be fair, the crime labs have reported that they're 50% through the DNA evidence. So there is potential there. But again, this house has a lot of DNA going through it. It's a party house. There's a bunch of girls living there. They leave hairs around all the time. And there's blood, a lot of the blood evidence is going to be from other people, like cross-contamination. So there is one ray of hope there that they may have some DNA evidence they can go with, but unless they have a copy, like if this is person's first killing, in their first crime, they're unlikely that they're going to have any DNA evidence.
And again, it's not a television show. You don't go, oh, we're gonna check the DNA, and then 30 minutes later they have a full DNA report and a match for it. It takes weeks, if not months, to match up the DNA.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of resources devoted to this case, like over $1 million in grants from the governor. But I feel like they should probably divide the DNA evidence amongst certain crime labs, like 2 to 3, so it could be faster. That's my opinion. One crime lab is working on this at the moment, as I understand, and they're 50% through. So there is one potential lead there. But this Hyundai thing, like, seems like an absolute last ditch effort. Yeah, it's not looking great. Not looking great.
Well, now what we're going to do is we'll clear a few super chats we've got. Then we're going to watch a video from Law and Crime where people are talking specifically about Steve and why what Steve is doing is a problem. So it's not me. Oh, excuse me, Jesus. It's not me. I haven't been drinking. It's not me, and I don't have a thing. So we'll let someone else do it. Marv White said, we already doing Steve. No, Steve didn't do it. Stop saying that. Jeff, you're not a liar. Fuck, I'm Viceroy of Rocks. I know. Why would I have nothing to lie about? Wait, Steve Gosney did it. Did he? Don't even joke about Steve Gosney doing this shit, please. We don't need shit rumor. People are stupid and start rumors. Not you guys. I know you're all joking, but someone's going to see it and go, holy God, what? So, yeah, let's leave good guy Steve out of it. Wait, again, you two, Flogs. Wait, is Steve Gosney a secret supervillain? He would make an awesome supervillain. Homework is his weapon. No.
One thing I should mention, I guess, maybe, since the revelation came out that the two girls, Madison and Kaylee, were in the same room when they were murdered, that actually might be significant for the connection of why these 4 people. Because if the target was specifically I want to say Kaylee, but I always get Kaylee and Madison confused. But I
They
think if
look
the target
so
was
much alike.
the two girls that worked at the Greek food shop, Zana and Kaylee, that's the connection. Like, if this person was looking for these two girls that worked at the Greek food shop, that means that like the other girl, either Madison or Kaylee, I can't remember again, or Ethan, were just collateral targets. That actually makes perfect sense why they would go, because that's the most confusing thing for me, is like, out of 6 people, why these 4 people in particular? And there's a couple of perhaps theories, like maybe they like, if you're coming in from the side entrance, from like the glass door entrance, and I know there are some people reporting now that the front door was open. I'm not too sure about that for a couple of reasons. Like, specifically because the report of the murder came from a male friend that was called after the girls discovered the bodies. So it's possible they just ran out the front door and left it open, so the neighbors saw the open door from like 9 a.m. or something. When the reality is that the girls opened the room themselves. It's possible that maybe the killer just didn't want to go down to the first level because he doesn't know what's in that, because he can't view it. Because I've looked at the crime scene quite a bit, and from my point of view, from the car park, you have a perfect layout of the kitchen, the 2 girls' rooms, the spare room, which was empty from a person that departed the university a few months earlier, and then also a little bit of look into Ethan's / Zana's room. So it's possible he just didn't go down there because he didn't know. Maybe it was the whole house was the target, and going down a dark staircase if you're in an unfamiliar situation is not a great thing to do. Well, it's again, risky. It's risky, right?
But we just don't know. Everything is speculation at this point, because
it's all speculation.
If they do know anything, are keeping it close to their chest.
No, absolutely.
And what I want to do now is show this law and crime video where people talk about that. I believe this video has them talking about the door, has them talking about Steve, and has them doing. This was from earlier today, I believe. Yeah, this is from 15 hours ago, and it's about 15 minutes long. So it takes a little bit of time to get through it, but it's pretty interesting, especially for a law and crime video. It's actually informative and pretty darn
that is
useful.
surprising. That is surprising.
Yeah, it is. Let's see. Here we go.
Sometimes when new information comes forward, the people that we've spoken to beforehand may have new insight on that. So it does often seem like we're backtracking, but we're really just trying to get the most important details and the best timeline that we can come up with.
A father of one of the students killed in the University of Idaho quadruple murder case reveals alleged new details from the coroner. Forensic death investigator Joseph Scott Morgan reacts and explains. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
At first, when we heard of the news, I was so angry.
This is Mom.
Was taken away. All these special people. And you never think it's going to happen to your family. And then I had to sit back through my tears and realize that I really was blessed. I was fortunate to have staff live with me for a couple years.
We continue to follow the University of Idaho quadruple murder case. It's the killings of 21-year-old Kaylee Gonzalez.
Well, I hate to interrupt this. Here. Let's get through a couple of super chats, because clearly we obviously have to do one. Killer.
Yeah,
this wasn't a super chat. This was a bit before. Killer had to have left DNA there, but as Meme was talking about, as Josh was talking about, it was a party house. There's going to be DNA all the hell over the place. Plus, all the friends were coming over after it was called, either before, during, or after they called 911.
Can I say something here?
Shit ton of people.
So, all right, look, girls in chat, guys in chat, if you've had a girlfriend stay at your house for one night, she leaves behind so much hair. Okay, I'm talking. You're gonna find that hairs weeks later. This house had like 5 to 6 at maximum capacity girls living there on its own. Okay, they're going through. They're spreading skin cells. They're selling hair follicles. There's a dog as well. Now this is also a party house. Okay, and a lot of foot traffic comes through. They've got their boyfriends. They've got everyone. This is all the information they have to go through. Now, one other thing is that people look, when the call came in, the police didn't instantly just freeze the crime scene and change things. No, paramedics go through the entire house. They run through the house looking for anyone with a pulse. Maybe they look dead, but you have to check. As a paramedic, you have to go in and check. You go in, you run in with your regular shoes, you track in dirt, DNA evidence and everything. As you go in, you contaminate the crime scene, checking for a pulse, seeing if there's any way to resuscitate these people, because it does happen that sometimes you can save these people even if they've lost a lot of blood. All these factors make this house one of the hardest crime scenes. And like I said, I have got my criticisms for the police, but no, this is an incredibly difficult crime scene, and people are forgetting that. They think it's like a perfect snapshot in time where it's just stopped, and that's not the case. That's not the case. Maybe there is some skin cells in the house that the hooker left behind. Maybe there is some hair follicles or something, but to find that, it's like a needle in a haystack. Okay, this is a
legendary.
And even if they find it, even if they find it, what if the police don't have a DNA match? If their DNA is not on record, what are you even going to do with this? Literally, you don't know unless it's like, if it's a blood sample, then sure, that would be very good. But that's only if the killer cut themselves while they're there, or if there was like maybe some like a scratch or something. That's pretty common. A scratch under the fingernails. There's like some skin cells or something.
But we gotta get the super chats here.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Legendary Racing says, "What about Steve from Blue's Clues? Did he have an alibi?" Yeah, go after Steve from Blue's Clues. I don't care about him.
Possibly.
Just leave Gosney's name out your fucking mouth. Anyway, and Flux. If hair is an indicator of guilt, I'm fucked. I literally have hair all over the world, having my ass off. In this situation, you really use hair. Exactly. And Mike Morrison, been at work on the Artemis Orion capsule program intensely for the past few weeks.
Pretty cool.
Things went well, and it looks like we might actually know what we're doing over at Lockheed. Please take a break from depressing murders and have a celebratory drink on me. Absolutely. Cheers on that. So now you can finally come out and admit the world is flat. It's covered by a dome, and you didn't really go there. Come on. We all know it. Now you can admit it. Go ahead. I just watched the James Cameron movie. I know what you guys can do. But seriously, great. That was a great mission to watch. To watch the launch, watch the splashdown the other day. That was some seriously cool stuff. Great to see us back in space again after like 50 years. Cheers. This is a Balvenie 12-year triple cask.
Oh, that looks nice. I got to pick something up this week. I don't know. Any recommendations?
Anything you can get your hands on.
True and real.
Oh, thank you so much, Mike Morrison. That was great. And congratulations on whatever it was that you had to do with the Artemis and Orion capsule program. It seemed to be a rousing success. Now let's get back to Steve, who's going to take it on the chin here a little bit.
Gonzalez, 21-year-old Madison Mogan, 20-year-old Zana Kernodle, and 20-year-old Ethan Chapin. Their bodies found in their off-campus home out in the college town of Moscow. These killings happened 4 weeks ago, and at the time of this recording, no arrests have been made, no suspect identified, and no murder weapon recovered. But there is something that we have to talk about, and those are the new statements from Stephen Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez, for anybody who's been following this case, has been quite vocal with the media about this investigation since the news broke about the killing of his daughter, Kaylee. In fact, he would reveal certain things that we weren't entirely sure the authorities wanted him to share. And now he is coming out with more information regarding the wounds. And he's doing this in an interview with Fox News Digital. So let me bring in right now my good friend, forensic death investigator from Jacksonville State University, Joseph Scott Morgan, who is also the host of the Body Bags podcast. Joseph, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming on again.
That's a cool name for a
you,
podcast.
brother. How you doing?
So before we get into the wounds and the revelations about the wounds, I want to start here. So Stephen Gonzalez told Fox News that he spoke with the coroner, Kathy Mabut. Apologies if I mispronounced her last name. First off, before we get into the wounds, is it typical for a coroner to share this information with the parent of a victim?
It depends upon the case. And yeah, I mean, I've certainly, in my past, working as a medical legal death investigator, have shared some of the intimate details when asked specifically about it. However, I will say this: if there has ever been a multiple homicide case that I have worked, I've never done a compare and contrast relative to injuries that other victims have sustained to the wounds that, say, the immediate family is asking me about one victim. That's very bad form. And I can't imagine any coroner doing that.
I'm going to get into that, the comparison between Kaylee and the others. But this is what Stephen Gonzalez told Fox News about what was told to him by the coroner. She says, "Sir, I don't think stabs is the right word. It was like tears, like this was a strong weapon." Not
This is from
like
the article we
stab.
just read.
She said these things were big open gouges. She said it was quick. These weren't something where you were going to be able to call 911. They were not going to slowly bleed out. What do you make of that?
I've never heard verbiage like that from anyone in the medical legal field, and I'll tell you why.
Wait, does that mean that he might be getting it wrong, or that there's something, if a coroner told this to him, something's off?
Yeah, something would be off, and I don't know, maybe he's not quite understanding what's being said, but he's using very specific language there.
And see, he's saying exactly what I was saying last Friday and today. He's just being less shouty about it. And quickly, we had one comment from Jacob's Proud Madre. Question: legal advices, can they put a gag order on Steve? Any options like that to shut him up? Not really. What the option is to stop telling the family anything about the case. And they don't want to do that. They want to keep the family as informed as possible. But if you keep saying shit like this, they're just going to say, "Hey, we think you're hurting the investigation. We're not telling you anything anymore." That's the risk that Steve is running, and that's what pisses me off. Everybody wants their daughters and sons' murder solved, but he is putting all of that in jeopardy. Not only because the police might shut them out, but also because it might tip the killer off that they're getting really, really close, and he needs to go somewhere else if he's not somewhere else already.
Hey, Jeff, I just got sent a video. It's like a short video. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
Interesting. It's related to the white Hyundai. So there's a video that was posted by some. It's very short. It's only a couple of seconds, but I'm sharing it now. This is new to me. I haven't seen this before. It's 8 seconds. I watched it now. But there's this video of just kids being silly, like doing it looks like they're doing like a beer shot or a beer. What is it? Beer.
Whatever the hell that is. Like,
when you the thing Americans
open
do,
the beer can incorrectly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you do much more work to drink a beer than you normally
this is
need to.
allegedly, I haven't had time to verify this. Allegedly, this is a video from March. Okay. And if you pause the video just several frames here, this allegedly is the white Hyundai. So
it looks like the Elantra, they call them the K5 here, and I owned a K5, and that looks like a
that looks like the car. So that is interesting. This and I'll just show you that I was a little bit dubious of this video first, but if you look here, that's the house. That's the house. So yeah, this, you know what? They have a good view of the house window, and they may have used this car park. Interesting. Now, the police are interested in the white Hyundai because they think it's someone has information relevant to the case, not as a murder suspect. But that is very interesting, and it's a pretty popular car. It could be a different one. Like, we can't just say this is 25,000 people. There's got to be more than one people with the car. But this is
white is one of the most popular colors for the.
So thank you for sending me this. I'm going to look at this and see if there's anything else about this later. But thank you. Sorry, just a
Amanda
little bit of
says
correction.
Shotgunning a beer.
Shotgunning a beer.
Says machine gun a beer. We got a couple of votes for shotgun.
That is interesting.
I've heard
that
that
is
before.
interesting, though.
I just go and drink it because it's easier.
I've never done that before.
No, it's just weird. But hey, college kids. All right, back to ye oldie video here. We got one super chat to clear here real quick. The CIA probably killed him to distract the population from caring about the backroom portal that is open as we speak on Twitter. Look up Dr. Shiva. He exposed the portal in 2020 in federal court. Okay. The backroom portal will do that. That might be something for Friday's Unexplained. I'm legitimately going to write this down. Dr. Shiva, because I haven't figured out what I'm going to do for Friday's stream yet. Dr. Shiva, backroom portal open. Okay. Backroom portal open. Court 2020. All right. If this is a nothing burger, shame on you. All right. Jumping back in here.
Jesse, tears. Let's just break it down real quick. All right. When you're using an edged weapon, tearing is not something that's associated with that. Okay. Tearing creates this, where you have connective tissue or you have tissue bridging. Most of the time, that's connected with lacerations, and lacerations are associated with blunt force trauma. The coroner's never mentioned anything about blunt force trauma. So I don't know if he's misunderstanding, misremembering, or just misstating. I don't know, but I do know this: you have two choices with sharp force injuries. You either have stabs, okay, or you have incised wounds, which are slices. Slices are longer than they are deep. Stabs are deeper than they are long. That's really your only two choices. Now, kind of an outlier in all of this is something we refer to as puncture wounds, which doesn't look anything like a stab wound. They're generally, kind of circular in shape. You see them with like people that have been stabbed with shanks, homemade shanks in prisons, or people that are impaled on rebar, that sort of stuff.
Oh, that
Now,
sounds
this
awful.
really loud.
tearing,
Sorry.
it
It's
doesn't add
mechanical.
up to me. It doesn't make sense
Mine too.
whatsoever.
I got it to play StarCraft,
But
so
we've
I
been
need
under
I need
the
a clicky. I need
impression
a clicky one.
that it was a fixed blade knife that was used. There was reporting that it was a Rambo style knife. There was questions if it was a K-bar style knife. He said, Stephen Gonzalez, that the knife slashed open Kaylee Gonzalez's liver and lungs. Again, so are we thinking it's the wrong weapon based on this, or are we still
so
of the
silly.
conclusion it's a knife, but the characterization is a bit off?
Well, first off, I'm very sorry for this man's loss, but he's not the person I'm going to go to.
See,
I think
this is
we need to
this-
clarify this a little bit. But go on.
Yeah, no, it's this is what I'm saying. They're kind of the media. They do these things. You call something a long gun once, and then the long gun is something that pops up in every damn news story about whatever the deal was. Here they said it's a K-bar style knife, which is essentially a hunting knife. But it's very, very difficult to just look at a puncture wound and say, "Oh, it came from this knife."
Yeah,
it's just it's a fixed blade. It could be a kitchen knife. It could be
all right,
anything.
I've got a Swiss guard here, and it comes with like a little knife thing. This is a fixed blade knife because it is, the blade doesn't bend. I also have a pocket knife here. This is a non-fixed blade because the blade can move. Okay, so if I just pull out it's a pocket knife, right?
Yeah.
No, correct me if I'm wrong, that's what a fixed blade means. It just means like a knife that is a solid attached to the hilt. Now, that maybe they assumed it was a K-bar knife because of the length of or the depth of the wounds.
You
Okay,
can tell
the depth of the wound,
the depth,
but
the width, and the thickness of the wounds.
It could have been a kitchen knife. It could have been a kitchen knife.
Yeah.
So saying it's like a Rambo style knife, it's just a hunting knife. Everybody's got these.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you've ever been hunting, you've got one of these knives. Okay. They're very common. They're probably every American shop, every army surplus store. Like that just looks like a hunting knife to me. Literally just looks like a hunting knife.
Well,
and
the K-bar is specifically a United States Marine Corps weapon.
Yeah.
But you can buy them anywhere. You can buy them online. I can buy one here in Korea.
Some of these knives do have serrations on the top. Now, if there is some sort of wounds, like unique wound signature that is left behind those sort of weapons, then sure, maybe. But no, like a lot of cuts, especially stabbing cuts, are not clean cuts. So it's going to be very difficult to. The only thing you can really determine is the depth and the width. Yes, because if it's like a 9-inch wound, it's a 9-inch blade, more or less.
And what this guy is saying, what we just heard him say, and we rewound, so he's going to say next, is essentially the nice professional way of saying, Steve, shut the fuck up, that I was saying last Friday.
Let's hear it.
Are we thinking it's the wrong weapon based on this, or are we still of the conclusion it's a knife, but the characterization is a bit off?
Well, first off, I'm very sorry for this man's loss, but he's not the person I'm going to go to.
That's saying, Steve, shut the fuck up.
Injuries.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to hear from the medical examiner, who I think or the forensic pathologist, who.
See, this is the differentiation. The forensic pathologist, the medical examiner, is different and does completely different things than the coroner. And he's going to talk about the coroner here in a bit.
Was contracted to do these examinations over in Spokane. All right. Coroner, just so everybody knows, the coroner is not an MD here. She's certainly not a forensic pathologist. She didn't do these. These bodies would have been transferred over there. I don't understand from, the genesis of a lot of this information that he's putting out there. It doesn't make sense. And keep in mind as well, early on, do you remember back, I think that the coroner actually had a sit-down interview with our friend Ashley Banfield early on. And she was the first person to get to the coroner. And Ashley asked very specifically in that interview, she said, were any of these victims slashed? Because that goes to another part of criminal profiling and all that sort of stuff. The coroner definitively said no. She said these were stab wounds, and they at least had one fatal stab wound that she could identify. Now, she talked about, the coroner framed it in the sense where she talked about the chest. Okay. All right. He's saying, this father is saying liver. Liver ain't the chest. Okay. As a matter of fact, it's way south. You're talking about below the rib cage, essentially on the right aspect of the abdomen. So I don't really know, how they came to that conclusion. That doesn't make sense. And again, using this term, and I think using the term the liver was slashed, that's not what you would have in this case. It would be a stab. Remember, I gave the description of an incised wound just a moment ago. This is not an incised wound. This is a stab wound. Okay.
What do you make of when he says, like you mentioned, that Kaylee's wounds do not match to Mogan's wounds? So he said they may have individually died from the exact same thing, being stabbed, but there are more details. They're not even close to matching. Again, do you think that this is a situation where perhaps he's misunderstanding what the coroner is saying, or is the coroner maybe providing conclusions that the coroner should not be making at this point?
Well, my default position again with this, Jesse, is what
we
does the
bothered?
forensic board certified forensic pathologist say about it?
I'll be good.
Because
Wait, and just to be clear, it is possible he's right.
it is possible that he is right, I would assume. However, what's the genesis for this? How does he assess that these injuries are different? Did he see this other victim's body? Was he the one drawing this conclusion? I doubt that that's the case. So is he saying that the coroner sat there and said, your child's injuries are so much more worse than any other victim? That's what I have a real problem with here. First off, I don't know how accurate that is. And secondly, and I think bigger, it's very disrespectful to these other victims. Very disrespectful to these victims and their families to say this.
Exactly.
Right now,
That's what I'm saying. To say, oh, my daughter's the special, even if she was, to say this and to say everything is different, I've got it worse than you. It's just fucked up, and he needs to shut up. Anything, Josh?
No, I mean, every one of these children's parents is grieving for them. They're all going through like something that no parent ever wants to go through. And some of them are taking it better than others. And it seems to me that he's trying desperately to do anything. Like I do feel for him. I do feel for him because he's trying to do anything. The father's imperative is to protect the child, and he can't do that anymore. It's beyond his control. So he's doing anything and everything. But no, he's just making things worse. And it's sad.
Exactly. See, it's not just me, memes saying it. And this guy, this talking head, honest to God, is the best commentator I've seen on this whole situation from day one. He's not giving his theories. He's just saying experientially, this is it. And here's what you look for. And here's why what somebody else is saying is weird. He's not saying what happened. He's not speculating about things.
Now,
he's giving a straightforward answer.
We don't know what the status of the injuries are. It's been very nonspecific relative to defensive injuries.
And I'll just say, he's like the oldest looking 20-year-old on planet Earth.
He's 20 years old?
Really old. Yeah.
Somebody sent me an interesting thing about that, like why we perceive certain people to be older than they are. It's actually pretty good.
Because he's 20 years old. He does not look like a 20-year-old.
Sustain the defensive injuries, what the location of these so-called defensive injuries are, that sort of thing. So, right now we're just kind of getting snatches from him, and I don't know the genesis of the information he is relating.
Well, he said also that the coroner told him that these victims in general died quickly and didn't suffer. He said he's not convinced. In fact, he says it was a hell of a battle going on down there from what the coroner told us. Again, I give you your response from
and again, how do you make that assessment? This is not like a one-off event where you have a single perpetrator on a single victim. This is highly dynamic. I've mentioned the term, commingling relative to evidence, and a lot of that has to do with proximity. But let me throw out another term to you. It's called co-sleeping. And so you've got two victims, well, both sets of victims are
Okay.
actually co-sleeping with one another. So you're telling me that in, I don't know, in the darkness or whatever the lighting situation was, that this individual, the perpetrator, this monster came out of the dark and was able to identify this specific individual and target her, because that's what's being implied here, that she was specifically targeted. Ergo, that how this is demonstrated is the fact that her injuries were so much more robust than any other injuries that anybody might have had. I just don't see how he's arriving at that conclusion.
He says he has his own suspicions about what may have happened. He's not revealing at this point. What did you make of this comment where, again, he says the coroner told him that the perpetrator was a strong individual, but we know the police haven't identified, any suspect or the suspect's gender. He came out and said, Steve Gonzalez, I got outraged by them not just coming out and saying this was a woman or a man, because they should know by the amount of strength it took to deliver the injuries. They're just being cowards. There are girls walking around the street right now that deserve to know they should be looking out for a sadistic male. What do you think?
Wow, he's into profiling.
I disagree.
Okay.
Disagree.
Yeah, that's.
Can we stop this for a second?
Yep.
Look, yes, girls should be taking care to do the best thing they can to protect themselves, but they literally went home and fell asleep, and then a guy broke into their house allegedly, or maybe we don't know, but like, what can you walking around the street? Yeah, be careful on the street, but no, these girls actually did what they should have done. They got home safely. They were using a buddy system. They were not too drunk. Yes, you should be on the lookout for somebody, but what can you do if someone actually breaks into your house while you're sleeping? There's very little you can do, except for booby trap your house, which is illegal, right? Am I wrong? I think
Oh,
it's
yeah,
illegal,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Yep.
No, you
Yep,
can't
you
booby
can't
trap
booby trap your house. Yep.
So
Old
I mean,
cases about that.
it's a
Trap
nice
guns.
thing. It's a nice thing to say, but it's a little bit hollow, in my opinion.
Yeah,
a little bit hollow.
See, I like this guy because he's saying what I'm saying, just he's not being ranty about it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, he's a profiler now.
Mhm.
Which again is saying, Steve, shut up. You're not helping.
It's true. True.
All right, let's continue. About 4
Appropriate.
minutes left.
He should not be saying that at all.
You don't think the coroner gave him any indication about it?
I don't know what she gave him, but he should not be the mouthpiece for it and putting that information out there.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, he has he has a legal right to say it, but he shouldn't be saying it. To paraphrase Mark Twain, in America, we have 3 precious gifts: the freedom of speech, the freedom of consciousness, and the freedom never to use them. Just don't.
That's a good
For
one.
all I know, this individual probably is a sadist. I have no idea how to measure that. But how are you going to measure strength as well? I mean, I think that we can probably agree that it would have taken some level of strength, particularly with the first victims, and willpower. In
I
order
agree
to
with that. I agree with that.
bring this about.
Yeah.
You're going to
Certain amount of upper body strength for 4 people.
I
Yeah.
go back to this idea of co-sleeping in this context. You've got 2 victims that are there before you. If you're the perpetrator and you're attacking both of them with a knife, again, I don't see how you can be targeting someone, specifically physically targeting someone, and you're having to fend off both individuals, because we don't know anything about the sequencing of death at this point either. Keep that in mind. That's very important here, because we don't know anything about the postmortem interval. They still don't have this timeline figured out as well.
They can
We have
find that from
ideas
the
about it,
evidence. They can find that from the blood splatter evidence.
Yeah, but Steve's got all the answers already, so why do we need anybody else?
No, the police have not released this, but this is something the police can prove by literally just like, if there's blood from one person that's not on another person, you can kind of figure out who the stab victim was just by layers of blood. And like, obviously, if you go to the second floor before the third floor, then there'll be blood in the second floor that's not apparent in the other floor. It's kind of that easy, right? But it does take time. It does take a lot of time to stick with this sort of thing. But the police probably do know the sequence of deaths, but they have chosen not to release this.
Right, based upon the house and who was killed. Before I have to let you go, Joseph, we have about a minute left. I want to ask you real quick about it seems that it's being reported that the hands of the victims have all been bagged at the scene
Standard
in
operating
an effort to
procedure.
preserve possible DNA evidence, so that their hands were bagged up. Is
That's
that
a good
common, or what
move.
can we find from that? And how long
Because
would
of
it take to
fingernail
develop?
DNA.
Okay, first off,
fingernail
yeah, it's very
from
common,
scratches.
to bag hands. In the past, we've just used brown, not sterile, but clean brown paper bags, and you tape them on the hands. Now they They literally have these kind of all-encompassing little bags that have a drawstring. And kind of, again, bear with me. Let me break it down and tell you how it works. You bag the hands very carefully because there's a tremendous amount of trace evidence. One of the reasons you bag the hands is that this is kind of a logistics issue. When bodies are being moved from one location, and certainly if you're talking about traveling all the way from this location to Spokane, which is where the bodies would have been examined, there's a lot of jostling. So things fall off.
Yeah.
It's very fragile. When you remove these bags, they're removed very carefully, Jesse. And so anything that's contained in them, they'll be sealed up and individually labeled and sent to the crime lab for examination. Now, they're also protecting anything that's contained under the nails. You've heard
That's
me,
the
you and I
primary
have talked
thing,
many times over the years about nail scrapings and nail clippings,
Yep.
skin, any kind of blood, anything like that's going to be contained. And also, because this was apparently a pretty bloody scene, it's amazing how much hair will contact and stick to hands. I find that more frequently than just about any other kind of evidence, hair from perpetrator, and sometimes hair from the victim too, because it's so dynamic. How long is the turnaround? It's not surprising. First off, here we are. We're past that marker in time of 4 weeks now.
Yeah.
I am sure that at least the evidence that is gleaned from the victims is at a point where they've almost assessed it. They've collected all of the DNA that they possibly could. And now it's just about running the numbers relative to it to try to determine whose DNA is there. And what you're looking for is when you go through this process of this perpetration of this butchery, person A, okay, is going to have their DNA and possibly the perpetrators. But as you move to B, you'll take, if they're using the same
Yeah, that's
weapon,
what I was saying earlier.
you're taking the same weapon that has been dipped into
timeline
the
of
blood
steps.
of A, then to B, then to C, then to D, so forth. So you've got multiple transfers. It becomes very layered, not to mention all the touch DNA as well.
Forensics tell so much of the story. We see that all the time in the cases we cover, and maybe we'll see it here as well. By the way, before we let everybody go, anybody with information, they're asked to call the tip line at 2.
All right, we can wrap that up. Now the police have since come out and said that the office, they talk about how they were notified of it, and how there was a lot of chaos around the scene at the beginning, and they've said they're hopeful that there will be an end to this. They see an end coming that involves an arrest. I mean, whether they're just saying that because they don't want people to know how truly empty they are right now, or if they are onto something and they're just not telling us, or if they're doing it to pressure the culprit into doing something or making a statement. I don't know, but they're hopeful. And Meme, you said you had some new breaking news.
No, that was I already showed you.
That was the car?
That was, yeah, that was the car.
Oh, you don't have anything else? No, I was like waiting for a big story.
No,
anyways.
I mean, unless it's a story about being drunk and old stalker, I don't have anything else.
Well, Flux
I
says
do have
backrooms are real.
I have a very funny couch story that I'll have to tell people at some point though.
Okay,
from
it's
Moscow.
obviously a portal to hell, this
Yeah.
backroom thing. And Oceanway 007 says it's legit. He ran for senator and was taken off Twitter, so he took them to court to sue them, and in court found the portal. Just look him up on YouTube. He's the man who created email. I said I'll watch it. It might be food
I will have a look to
for a
see if there's
Friday
any
show.
more updates of the case though. Just give me a second. I don't think so, because people are very good about sending me tips these days.
Let's talk about prepping. Who knows that area of Idaho quite well? Can't send with a totally innocent super chat test. Well, that totally innocent super chat worked. You just need to test with more money. Just kidding. And Oceanway again says, all I'm saying is be careful on what media says. A lot of it distracts us from seeing corruption. I'm going to email you. Please email me. That'd be cool to see that story. Like, I'll look it up myself, but if you can point me in a direction, that would be even better. So that's kind of the updates for today that I had. A lot has happened since last Friday. We had Steve mouthing off again. We had the graduation, which is like really sad because 2 of them were supposed to have graduated. And then we've got the search. The search is still on for the Hyundai. and it's sad. And again, this isn't going to happen overnight. It could take weeks, months, years, and maybe even never. That's why there's so many of these cold cases out there that just never get solved. The ones that get solved decades later, when somebody gets arrested, and they go, "Oh, holy crap! This evidence, this DNA matches up," or they get arrested on something else, and they start talking to cellmates. They could be that. We just don't know. Let the police do their job. Steve, stay at it. You know, be a father. Be there for your family. Don't try to be part of the story. Don't try to be the hero. Don't try to be the guy that gets the information out there, because as the talking head said, as Josh says, as I say, you are doing more damage to the investigation.
Yeah, I mean,
anything crop up today?
Nothing too new there. But one thing that's very disconcerting for people when they're looking at this case is like what did the girls do wrong? And I would say they did nothing wrong, actually. Sometimes life is such a beast that you make all the right decisions and you lose anyway, and it's not weakness. It's just how it goes. These girls, they did all they can do, and sometimes you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time and you can't do anything about that. Now, of course, we want the case to be solved. We're at 1 month at this point. The likelihood is it's not going to be solved. And that's sad, and that's, it might just come out sometime. Like you said, like in prison, to a jail cell, maybe they just get drunk at a bar and start blabbing. Who knows? But
I think
we
the
can
thing
only
they have going in favor of finding who did it was, one, the small size of the town. I know, like the Moscow Pullman, I won't call it a metro area, but extended city area is about 100,000 people. But the small town of Moscow, this seems to be someone who's very local from that town, because of knowing entry and exit points, knowing how to get quietly, knowing where the hell the house was.
It's my theory that the person was at the house prior to this. Maybe they were a party guest or something. That's my theory, is that they've seen the house.
On the other hand, going against them ever finding it, knives are a crime of passion, or vengeance. I mean, guns are the ultimate crime of passion. Oh, fuck you, bam. But knives kind of raise that level a bit, because you've got to, and especially in Idaho, that area of Idaho, it would take you 20 minutes to get a gun.
Now, people say this, but when I think of knives, I don't think of a crime of passion. I think of a weapon of silence. It's 3 a.m. If you want to get away with this, you need a quiet weapon. You can't use a gun.
It's got an extra brutality to it than just popping someone.
It does, but I feel like they chose the weapon so that they could get away with this. I feel like they wanted to premeditate this, and they wanted to get away. And that's my feelings. I have no evidence to back this up. This is just my opinion.
And I mean, introducing a knife into it raises your danger level as the perpetrator significantly. Then it's a hand-to-hand combat, and like they say with with bayonet training in the military, if you get close enough to have to worry about using your bayonet, you fucked up.
Well,
So
hypothetically, they didn't know that Ethan was going to be there, so they were expecting one person in Kaylee's room, Zana's room, and they didn't expect the two girls to be together at the same time. So they probably thought in their mind that they were going to go through these people one by one, and one at a time. So we're working with this meta knowledge, and that's one thing. There's like, we have all this different information about the case, but the killer didn't necessarily have this. Like, we know that Ethan was basically there almost every night because they were practically moved in at this point. But the killer, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But we can't assume everything. Like, people make this mistake all the time. They think of one thing and then they say, like, well, this means that this couldn't happen. No, it could, like for me, I'll give you my own bias for this. I believe that the person that did this is a resident from the town and not a transient person that was maybe driving through the town. I think that's because the house was kind of off on these back streets and like in a cul-de-sac and away from the thing, Like, if the house was like next to the freeway or the highway, whatever you call it in America, then yeah, sure, maybe it was someone that was just driving past in a crime of, a very random act. But no, this was kind of inside the town, kind of very close to the college. I feel like this has to be, someone that lived there. But that's my blind spot. It's totally possible this could have been someone out there.
Yeah, technically it's a blind spot, but I don't really think it is. I think it's deduction. We're saying it's in a cul-de-sac. It's not really a cul-de-sac. It's like the end of a side street. It's set back a little bit farther. You have to know that back entrance is even there. You have to know where the house is. You have to have a reason for going there. And it clearly points to someone that has been to the house or in the neighborhood of the house and
Yeah.
knows it
I mean,
there, knows who is there.
deductive reasoning is an incredibly powerful tool. We can come to conclusions about certain things, but we can't. You have to worry about the bias of being blinded, and it's totally possible. So we just need to consider all the factors.
And that's why we have things like Occam's
Like,
razor.
like saying it's a man. Like there's a 99% chance that it's a man based on statistics, like body strength, that thing. But maybe it is a woman, and some people are very adamant that
Brittany
it is a woman.
Griner. Brittany Griner.
Well,
could have done it.
they would have the upper body strength to do that.
We'll be talking about Brittany on Friday.
Oh my goodness.
Again,
What a
we
nut.
ranted about her last Friday for a good couple of hours.
Never mind.
Now, yeah.
Let's not go into it just now.
Exactly. I give people the benefit of the doubt. Anyway,
Like you know what? It's actually a great moment because finally a WNBA trade has made national news. Finally.
Yeah. The world famous person with millions of followers. Like literally nobody knew her name until 9 months ago. But anywho, we'll get to more ranting because that's what Friday is going to be about. Alphabet people behaving badly.
Sounds like fun.
The L's are off the hook. We're going to have an L on the panel. The G's, the B's, and most of the T's are off the hook. It's the far to the left T's and the Q's and the pluses behaving badly we're going to focus on. But anyhow, the thing that's going against them finding this killer, I think, is the fact that they had a Halloween break, a Thanksgiving break, where almost 2/3 of the students never came back. They've had the graduation. Now Christmas is coming up in a week, and then they're going to be out for the winter break. And
No, that's just there's so many factors in this case that make it hard to solve. And one of those is that like the killer had the perfect alibi to leave the town and never return. If it's a student, you just say all you have to do is go home for Thanksgiving and then say, "Look, I'm afraid I'm not going to come back," and they're just gone.
Yeah,
like I said, it's their case to lose. They just have to, not be a blabbermouth essentially.
Yeah, and that's hard to do. Actually, it's surprisingly hard for people to not be a blabbermouth, especially if you go to jail on something else.
True.
And you got nothing to do but talk about shit with your cellmate 23 hours.
Secrets
a day.
do have a way of coming out. That is true.
So yeah, we'll just have to see. What do you got? By the way, everybody, if you haven't subscribed to Meme Copium, get over there right now and do it. You just need to be subscribed to him because he's like me but cooler. He's me but more edgy. Me, but he goes like a few steps that I'm still too afraid to tread.
I mean, yeah, we do push a few boundaries. I feel like I'm not as experienced. I got a lot to learn from you, actually, Jeff. But hopefully, I can teach you a couple things when you come over to Osaka. Like, just look, talk to Andrew in confidence, and he's going to tell you some of the crazy stuff. Okay, it's gonna be fun.
I haven't been to Osaka since 1991, 1992.
Really?
Yeah.
How old was I in 1991? 5 years old.
I was dating the lovely Etsuko Mori, who went on to be a Lufthansa stewardess.
Really?
Yeah.
Anyway,
no, she's not. She was famous to me. Just an old flame, one that got away.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't want to live in Korea. I didn't want to live in Germany. So parted.
Yeah, fair enough.
And she's impossible to track down because she's one of those she comes from one of those rare families where the husband took the wife's last name to keep
Mori is a very
going.
common last name.
Yeah.
Etsuko is less common, but like the last name is the important part here, and Mori is I know like a half dozen Moris, so no, that's gonna be very difficult to find.
Well, and then like I said, her mother took her father took her mother's maiden name. So the family wouldn't die out, kind of one of the things.
Have you ever heard about the Barakamin?
No.
So the Barakamin are a caste of Japanese people that are considered like lowly. They're people that used to work in the shoemaking, leatherworking. Dirty jobs.
Yeah.
So there is
the Untouchables of Japan.
Yeah, the Untouchables. Yes, that's exactly right. But it's not a thing that exists these days. But if you are a descendant of one of these Barakamin, sometimes when you propose to a wedding, the families will hire private investigators to check to see if you have any of these people in your family, and if they do, the wedding can be off. It's actually very insane. And I mean, there is a lot of discrimination in Japan, but very little discrimination between Japanese people, except for the Baraka. And if you ask Japanese people about these people, they will deny that they exist. But no, they do. But very, very, very unfortunate, very sad. But that exists in every culture to some degree.
Yeah.
Like the hatters in English were always considered to be crazy because the chemicals they used in curing leather and stuff would make them actually go insane. So Mad as a Hatter did come out from that sort of thing. And like people that work in like, you know, anything in sort of like a dirty job, considered a dirty job, you know, common everywhere. But
yeah, they have they have kind of the same thing here in Korea. It's family, a group of family names.
It's I mean, if you ever check out the Indian, there's a really big problem with this in India today with manual scavengers. That's what their name is. It's so their pipes don't work very well, and they actually hire these women to unclog the pipes manually, you know, like digging into these shit-filled pipes essentially. And they call them manual scavengers. It's a massive problem. India's trying to remove the caste system, but there's a lot of issues over there. But you know,
yeah, here it's what do we call it? It's like Chun Bangji Chuk Ma Gol Pi. Like these 8 family names are that's sort of like the slave caste kind of thing from back in the day. That still kind of it's not so much anymore, but it's still there in the back.
Hierarchy is so important in Korea. Like when I was studying Korean long time ago, I was just blown away by the amount of honorifics that you have to learn. Like you always have to know who the person you're talking to is, what is their station, are they higher than you, and then how to respond to them in that sort of way. And that drove me nuts. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, here we are 2 hours in. It's a good place to call it quits. Said everybody get over to Meme, subscribe to him. Make sure you subscribe to him. He does some good stuff. Fridays are great. I love his Friday shows. Love participating in because everybody's drinking and some are
those are fun.
Before we get
sometimes it's too much fun, but usually pretty fun.
Things go off the rails real quick. What do you got coming up in the near future? Tease us.
So on I have another channel where I do Japan basic content. I'm working on a video about capsule hotels in Japan and what you need to know, and also some of the Osaka street food things as well, which might be interesting to some people. But I'll announce that when it's ready. It's a couple days away at this point. I just need to get in there and do the work. It's a very heavy edit. I do a lot of the cinematography and stuff. That's good stuff. Tomorrow I'll be streaming about something. I'm not sure what yet. And then on Friday, going to be the drinking stream as usual, but starting at 8 p.m. Korea time. So we're an hour earlier. So hopefully you can show up. I'd be happy to have you again. We always have some good laughs. Play some games. Play some naughty drawing games. You know.
Yep, as we always do.
We do.
Pinochet's helicopter says Dr. Shiva would have been a real Indian senator in Massachusetts. Okay. And Pinochet's helicopter tours also says I joined the army in 2010. No bayonets anymore. Well, boo. Bayonets are fun. But so you got that coming up. Any live stream topics you're hitting?
Not sure tomorrow. I have a couple ideas in check, but I have to do a bit of research for them first. But I've been doing some true crime stuff recently. If any information, like pertinent information, comes out about the Idaho thing, then I will do a stream about it. But there hasn't been enough information for me to do another stream of it yet, except for that guy that was faking the evidence, which is an absolute total piece of shit. And unfortunately, he just gets more popular as he fakes. He's been faking multiple cases. Back to the Johnny Depp case, he was actually faking shit.
Those are the assholes you should throw in jail.
We'll see. If the case is solved or any big piece of information comes out, then I'll be doing a stream that day. Absolutely. But I feel like there's probably no new information that's going to come out about this, and probably just going to be rehashes and stuff like that. So
Amanda asks the important question: how do we get on in these dirty, fun drinking games?
Well, you can come into my channel and just watch along, and I invite people from the chat to join us actually sometimes. So
if the
Fridays
panel doesn't fill the game list, then
Japan time. Jeff, usually stream at like 10 p.m. Korea time, right?
Yeah, we'll be doing it 10. Start at 10 o'clock.
So my streams typically start 2 hours, 1 or 2 hours before Jeff's stream. So whatever your local time is for that. I like to start at 9 or for drinking stream at 8 p.m. Japan time.
Yeah.
So because I'm in Japan right now, obviously.
Yeah, start 8 so I can have more time there.
Yeah, of course.
So, and what I've got, by the way, we've got 545 likes. Let's hit 600. We just need to hit the 600 likes just for the hell of it. So everybody that hasn't hit the like button, go down there, hit that like button.
I just hit it. I forgot to hit it when I joined. So I just joined. Thanks for mentioning it.
No, that's the thing. Is like
you have to mention it. Yeah.
Even as creators, I don't think to like other people's streams until they go like and they go, oh yeah, I'm a fuckwit. I of course I need to like this, because we don't think about it. Even as creators, you guys don't think about it, but YouTube, that's one of the main things they think about is the number of likes, the likes to view ratios, and all those other like based things. And when Meme says it is true, because he's one of these weird number cruncher guys that kind of freaks me out.
I have a lot of
The
data on
analytics
things
guy.
like there's a certain hierarchy of things you can do to actually support a YouTuber. Typing in chat, just saying hi, like being interactive in chat is a great one. Sharing the stream is the best. But not everyone wants to share a stream on their Facebook or anything. The one thing you can do that's not going to cost you anything except for 1 second of your time is like the stream. If you've been watching for like a couple minutes, surely you enjoyed it enough to hit the like button. Just hit it. We just need 28 more people. 28 more people.
Yeah. And so what I got coming tomorrow is OJ Simpson Day. Thursday is always OJ
Nice.
Simpson Day. We've got the people, the 2 or 3 witnesses. There was 5 witnesses called on this day. We don't need to watch 2 of them. They're important, but 3 witnesses that witnessed Mark Furman using racist language and saying horrible things about planting evidence and fabricating evidence to get people of color convicted. Those 3 witnesses will be on the stand. One of them is bringing tapes, and Mark Furman himself may make another appearance on the stand, either late at the end of the show or the beginning of next week. And that's where we're going to be on Thursday. Friday is going to be the great stream. Friday is a do not miss stream.
Oh,
we're going to be talking, as I said, that's the half of the alphabet list doing things badly.
Oh, that's right.
It's been a weird month for people. Like I said, the half of the T's, the Q's, the pluses, they've been behaving badly the past couple of months. So we're going to be talking about that with, we'll be having a panel of 3 people at least. We'll be having Drex. It might take him a while to get in there. Drex will be there because Drex always has opinions about those such things. We'll be having his producer Tim, and producer Tim and I, we will both be drinking a brand new whiskey that he got that I suggested he get. So we'll be cracking open a particularly interesting bottle of whiskey, an Octomore, which is one of the peatiest whiskey. Well, it is the peatiest Scotch on planet Earth. He got a bottle. I want to watch him crack it open. So he'll be doing that on the stream. And also we'll have our very own L. Flux will be on the panel. We got to, got to have the token L, the token Black, the token Canadian, and the token me.
That sounds like a do not miss stream. Actually, I'm checking that one.
Yeah.
That sounds really
do
fun.
not
Drex
miss that
is
stream.
hilarious, especially when he's talking about like social commentary.
Oh,
But
Ricky
I have to ask you,
Lockman
did you finish watching 1899?
I've got 1 episode left. I'll be
All right,
watching
when
it,
you finish that
Saturday
episode, we
morning.
got to do a stream talking about it. I'm really curious to hear what
Absolutely.
you say about it. Well, don't spoil anything, but the way the show's going so far, were your predictions correct? Like, there's a bit of a twist.
No, not my predictions have been off, and I have all of my reviews online.
I've been watching them, yeah.
And
those are really interesting when because when I was watching your reviews, because I watched the show first before watching the reviews, obviously. I watched them and I was like, you know what? He's actually getting a lot of things that I didn't notice the first time I watched it, because I was kind of watching it like I was watching it, but there are certain things you just miss. And I'm like, that's actually really interesting. He had a detail that was not revealed until a long time. I was like, how did I miss that? That's actually very observant.
Well, the problem is my reviews are literally half as long as the episode is.
Look, there's a show called EFAP, or Every Frame a Pause. They'll dissect a 30-minute video and they'll take 8 hours. So you've got a long way to go.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to avoid. By the
No,
way,
I love EFAP. It's
saw
a great
Avatar
show.
tonight.
Wait, how'd you see it early? Wait, Korea gets it early. Korea gets it early. That's 2 days early for Korea. I saw that. Was it any good?
It's got
I might go see it on Friday.
We're 2 hours into it, so I can say what I really wanted to say at the beginning when I mentioned it.
What's that?
Oh, by the way, we're done talking about the murders. If you guys want to take off. But you need 4 more likes to get to 600. So
3.
Hit 4 more likes in 1 hour 3. Okay, great. But yeah,
if you've got a second account, log out, log back into that, then relight the stream. What are you doing? Come on now. Everybody's got 5. I've got like 10 of them.
The story is shallow. It's not the deepest story ever. It's
you're
sort
saying
of like
you're saying the way of water is shallow.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good. That's good. All right.
We were joking during the movie. I watched with a couple of Russian friends. We were joking throughout the movie that it's Empire Strikes Back on the Titanic. That's kind of how it's summed up.
Okay.
You'll watch it and see why. Uh,
I had a
Cameron has a
friend.
thing.
I had a friend that was I had a UK chick. She was a friend that was really into the Avatar. And the first Avatar I saw it on a plane screen, like on
Oh,
my flight to Japan.
I'm sorry.
So I
That's
was
the
never a fan of
worst.
Avatar. Apparently, you have to appreciate it on the big screen, like an IMAX or something. So this Way of Water, I'm going to go see it on the big screen just because I missed out the first time. And hopefully it's good.
And
We'll see.
I don't know again if this is just improper memories, but I felt like the graphics were better 20 years ago or whenever it came out.
That's a real thing. I actually had one of my biggest videos on my channel is like 2 million views or something. Is actually talking about why is graphics better in the past.
I actually watched that just because of that.
Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest example is a great example of some amazing CGI work. Davy Jones specifically, and even back to the original Iron Man movie, like in the very early parts of the MCU, and it's a multiple problems. I came to the conclusion of that, but basically they're just too much crunch. They're actually literally bidding for the lowest. It's the lowest bidder wins for these sort of animation budgets, and they're pumping them out week after week after week, and they have these. Nobody waits anymore. They just want to get out as fast as possible and shit. It's like literally production house thing. So it's sad that we're going backwards because CGI used to be getting so good.
And it's the lack of practical effects. There's almost zero practical effects that I can see in this movie.
Mixing practical and CGI together is what makes Jurassic Park to this day an incredible movie. Now there are some scenes in Jurassic Park, like the Gallimimuses like running around. That looks pretty fake, of course it looks. But they're like Jurassic Park to this day holds up as a great movie just because they use practical effects where needed. They use CGI where needed. Like,
and without them, it just comes out as flat.
Yes. Like that's a big problem with Rings of Power. There was no depth in the shot because they weren't using anything. Like in like in Lord of the Rings, the original one, they filmed in New Zealand, so there's depth in the landscape, but that just doesn't exist in. And everything's filmed on sound stages as well these days. Like they have like I think they call it the sound. It's like this sound stage that they use to film everything. It's like got a painted backdrop and this small thing, but that limits the range of things people can do. You can't run through the scene because you're going to hit the wall at the back. And they're getting lazier. Like fix it in post every time.
And I don't know if it's me being biased, but the two main production companies that worked on it were ILM and Weta. And I can I can almost feel what was Lucas and what was Weta.
Yeah.
Again, it might just be the fact that I hate the ILM.
No, at least during Rings of Lord of the Rings, Weta was very good. I've been down. I used to live in Wellington, New Zealand, which is where they have the headquarters of Weta Workshop, and it's a great place. You can go down there and actually see all the weapons. And actually, Richard Taylor, the guy that was kind of in charge of the effects on Lord of the Rings, was babysat by my aunt as a kid.
Oh, that's cool.
So we actually had a family connection. We got to meet them. We got to, as kids, me and my brother got to play with swords and armor that was used on the Lord of the Rings set. It was great. And they have a lot of cool stories actually from the kids. Like their house had all these secret passages. Like you could go from under the kitchen outside their house when they were babysitting Richard for this. So it's a story for another time. But I mean, because New Zealand's so small, like there's actually a joke around New Zealand. Like there's 6 degrees of separation between all people in the world. Essentially, in New Zealand, it's basically 2 degrees separation. And there's actually a mobile network that's called 2 degrees because of that. But it's true. Like literally. In New Zealand, is only so small. It's 2 degrees of separation between everyone.
Paul Williams saying, "Oh, you mean Avatar isn't real?" Now I have to break it to my grandson. No, what I'm saying is like, and memes a videographer, so he knows what I'm saying. Water is the hardest thing to CGI.
Water is very difficult, and I think I saw one of the scenes where they were mixing the CGI hands with like a blue painted hand, and that's a great way to mix in practical and regular effects. So when you have water running over something, water is incredibly difficult to animate in a convincing way.
And now with this, the water effects were virtually flawless to the point where you went, wow, these water effects are virtually flawless.
You're like looking at the screen, you're getting thirsty. You're like, oh my God, I need a glass of water right now.
The effects are so good that you notice their effects.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, the thing is,
there was a lot of that going on.
So I think with all the Avatar movies, like James Cameron is very renowned for creating new techniques and new things for many of his movies, not all of them, but like like Titanic is a great example of this one. They actually built this. They took the submarine to go down to the wreck of the Titanic to see how it like broke apart. But apparently they worked on a very new techniques for this movie, so I'm very curious to see what they've come up with. Ocean in the chat says, "Wait, so your occupation is videographer?" Yeah, actually, I've actually produced my own documentary. Yes, on giant salamanders in Japan. I want to do more animal documentaries in the past. I don't just make funny videos; I do serious videos as well. But I have fun on this channel. I have fun. I have a serious channel and a fun channel. Got the good boy, you got the bad boy. You know, but you got to separate them sometimes.
You'll enjoy it. It's not a
Mm.
bad movie. It's long. It's
I
3
mean-
hours and 12 minutes. It could have been 2:15. It could have. They could have
Avatar-
chopped out an hour.
Avatar is literally just Pocahontas, but Pocahontas is a good story, right?
Yeah, but no,
So,
this is Empire Strikes Back on the Titanic. Tell me, watch it and
Okay.
tell me if I'm wrong or not.
that's a
But
very,
like I said,
very interesting description.
Yeah, you'll see.
I'll talk to you about it. Yeah, sure.
tell me if I'm right or wrong. But like I said, it could have been an hour shorter than it was because it seemed like a lot of it was just James Cameron jerking off on screen to say, "Oh, look what I can do with special effects."
Mhm.
There's a scene like in the first Avatar where they were learning to ride the birds. Here, they're learning to ride the birds and learning to ride fish, and it was a 30. I felt like it was 30 minutes. It was probably closer to 15 minutes of just learning how to ride a fish or a bird. And then it was this thing there. There's a chase scene that is just fucking interminable.
All right,
So it's just like he's jerking off.
Don't ruin it for me too much.
No,
but
no,
I need to know
like I said,
one
it's
question:
not bad. Yeah, okay.
Is there a blue nip slip?
You look for it. You won't find one, but you're looking for it.
So close. So close.
You do but see, that's another thing. It's like they have the CGI titties that are there, and they're very nice CGI titties on the adults. But there's always like something covering them to the point like where you're going, okay, if these were like real people, they wouldn't be covering their titties. Why are they covering their titties? And it gets to that game, like how much is he gonna show? It's like, ooh, there's side boob. There's blue side boob. Like it's literally they're covered so strategically that you're focused on that way more than you should be. But yeah, let's see if you see a slip. I didn't see one. I may or may not have been looking.
I'm
closely.
very observant.
Yeah. And you should. All right, I'm going to wrap this up here because we've gone 20 minutes longer than I planned on going. Got a few we got 4 super chats to get through here. X-Comer says, in the early 16th century, one of the main treatments for syphilis was mercury injected into the pee-pee.
Should I not be doing that?
Uh,
Wait, you guys are telling me this now? Oh shit! I gotta make a.
Too late. Well, either the syphilis is going to kill you or the mercury is going to. One of the two. Legendary Racing. Sorry, I caused trouble, Jeff. Also, Steve did it. Stop saying that. I swear to God. It's not gay if it's a 3-way. Says there. I logged out and liked it with this account. Are you happy now? I hope so. Yeah, because we got 631 likes. That's great.
Oh,
Pinochet's helicopter tours with the last super chat of the day. Hook memes up with the Friday tights crew.
Oh
Friday
yeah,
night tights crew.
I'd love to talk to them, but I don't have any connection to them. So maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Who are the Friday night tights crew?
Friday Night
Sounds
Tights.
like women.
I think it's like a bunch of different YouTubers. It's kind of a podcast to get together. You just have to look it up. But there's a lot of the same people that go on these sort of shows. Like I think Critical Drinker, and a few other people like Heel versus Babyface. Sort of. You've probably seen them before. I think Ricada's been on them a couple times. But yeah, it's just like a podcast where they sort of talk about those sort of things.
Doesn't ring any bells. Well, any last words, any last grift, any last thing to get off your chest?
I mean, come to Osaka, and I can take you to. I can make the Cat Girl realities come true.
She's
Oh no,
wearing
it's not.
far too many clothes for me to want to be in a picture with her.
It's not working because there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Come to Osaka, and I can
I
show
will
you some
come
crazy shit.
all over. Never mind. I'm not going to finish that sentence. Yeah, Osaka.
That's gonna be clipped. That's gonna be clipped.
All righty. Hopefully,
There's
month. Go ahead.
something very funny. I'll wait to tell you about it though.
All right.
I'll wait.
All right, folks. Mods, thank you for being moddy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing your thing. Super chats. Thank you. I am just amazed at the support you guys give me. Thank you so much for that. People here in chat, the Vice Squad is the best chat on the entire internet, and Meme knows because there's a lot of overlap. So,
Yeah, they're pretty fun. It's pretty fun talking to a chat. I like them.
And those of you that just keep us on in the background while you're driving around doing your thing, come back later and hit that like button. We love having you here, and you can show your support that way. And there's super thanks too occasionally. I don't even know what the hell those are about, but I get those occasionally, and I appreciate it. Meme, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking your night off sleep. It's 2 a.m. I think it's kind of time for us
I
to
am
hit
very
set.
tired and very drunk still. I think that I'm not as drunk as I was last week, but yeah, I literally just came from the bars, got the last train from Osaka just so I could come in here because it's fun. It's fun. I like to
I
talk
hope you
about this
are
topic,
never
and I like to be in your stream
as
as well.
drunk as you were last week. I hope you're never
Last-
that drunk again.
Real talk. Last week was a shit show. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. I think yeah. I don't think I'm going to do
YouTube
that.
channel, Crack in the Box. Yeah, go to Crack in the Box. If
All
you
right.
haven't subscribed
To
to the little
be-
kid, do.
In
He's
my
on his way out.
defense, I didn't know you could hold shots from one stream to another stream. I thought I had to do them all on one stream. So
Well,
people
that's the
messaged me later
idea.
saying that I could have done them on another stream. I thought I had to do the whole bottle on the one stream. So
Yeah,
I hold a bottle. Okay.
It's
whole
not an
bottle.
I'm just gonna not do it. You got to reach the tap out point, and you didn't reach the tap out point. So good on you. I super
I made it to the
prepared for my last Fuck It Friday stream. Did 35 shots and ran straight to the bed and went to sleep. But it was over 8 hours.
All right.
So
I'll tell you what
it was
happened to
over
me
an
last
8 hour
night. I'll tell you a quick, if you don't mind, is a quick story.
I don't mind.
So last night, me and Andrew were out to about 4 a.m. and I missed my last train. And I live about a 20 to 30 minute train ride away from the center of Osaka, but it's a 3-hour walk. And for some reason, I
Yikes.
didn't decide to get a taxi. I could have got
Oh,
a
you
taxi; it would have
idiot.
been cheap. But I decided to walk it. But then it was really cold and I was really tired. And I found an underground arcade that was locked up. Like it's like a little bar thing
Yeah.
down there. And they had a door, like a steel door that was like one of those closing like doors, the fenced ones. But it was a
Yeah.
foot open. And I looked down there and there was this amazing couch that was just down there.
It's
So I was like,
a wild, like a couch out
like
in the
a
wild.
red
Yeah.
burgundy couch, and I was just like, this has to be for me. So I went in there, I closed the door behind me, I went down to the basement level, I laid down the couch, and I was out until 7 a.m. and then I just woke up and went and got my first train. That couch was beautiful. I love that couch.
Oh no! So like people going to work and stuff were passing by this degenerate foreigner passed out on the couch.
No, it was downstairs. It was fine. It was fine.
No,
It was
pass
the
it by.
perfect. I mean, I think I got away with it. But
Well,
that was
I'm
fun.
sure
That was
Andrew probably told you about my bush nap I took a couple times
yeah, it
when
was
we met
fairly
together.
similar. Very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, took a bush nap. But yeah, that's what you got.
I have heard about that. But yeah,
That's how stories. That's how good stories start.
it was.
All
I had
right,
a great
folks.
time. Great time.
Let's do this. And what's gonna happen here as soon as I hit this end broadcast, you're all gonna be funneled over to Andrew Branca's stream, assuming he's still going. I assume he's still going. If
cool.
not, I don't know where the hell you're going. But Andrew Branca's Law of Self-Defense. He's streaming the trial. I assume they're going to be going to lunch soon, or it's been turned over to the jury because closing arguments started about 3 hours ago. So, 2 hours ago. So tell Andrew hi and tell him you got a legal vices raid, and we'll talk to y'all later. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for OJ Simpson, and don't forget to subscribe to Meme Copium.
And like
Enjoy
the video.
those legal vices and like everything else. Yeah, bye.